I am back. Hopefully, this works again. Let me get the window back shared. Da, 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 da. Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Cool, 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 cool. All right, so
What
hopefully.
happened at the end of that last hand?
Sorry, what was that?
At the end of last hand, because this is a new hand, right?
Is it?
After the double reaches.
Wow. So let's see here.
Well, you went to 22,000, so it looks... Actually, it doesn't make any sense. Well, that only makes sense if somebody... Who would win? Maybe it's just a Riichi hand only?
Yeah, I think
Somebody had to
nobody wins here
self-draw.
again.
Yeah, somebody had to self-draw this, I think. Because you would lose 1,000 points, so it'd be a two-han hand, my assumption is. Sumo two-han. So at least you didn't pay in. Oh, you did pay in. Was it just Riichi? That can't be right.
So what I get rid of that paid in?
Oh, it's 1,300. You got rid of the 7.
Mm.
And you still had... this is because I think you were still trying to force the straight.
Probably.
Because you could have easily discarded the 8 so, the 7 so, I think, as well.
Yeah, most likely that's what happened. Well, we lost our viewer, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, what can you do, right?
Yeah. I can actually just message him.
But since the video is still going, I'll talk while you're doing that. Here, you have basically 3 blocks. You have the 6, 6, 7, 8. That's basically 2 blocks of Monzu, and you have your 2, 3 of Sozu, and those are your 2 dependable blocks. The 8, 9 of Pinzu is not great because you're waiting on just the 7. So, and you can't really focus on a half flush either.
Well, not that I would have.
I would try to...
Right? Like, totally not that I would have.
So I would focus on keeping the 3 dragons that you currently have, and you'd probably discard something like the 1 pin. The 1 pin's completely useless. The 3, even if it's a single tile, you can draw around that more. You can draw around the 1, and even if you draw around the 1, it's next to the 4. So the 1's basically superfluous.
Hey, look at that! I make the call.
Yep, discard the south. So now you're still hoping for Yakuza at this point. Unless you draw better tiles.
Really found over and over again that this night was really just me spending a lot of time, like, hoping for Yakuza.
I mean, if your hands are all bad, then you don't have a choice really. So I would keep the 2-3-3 shape. It's a flip. You could probably discard either the 4 or the 8-9. I might discard the 8-9 just because I don't want to spend 2 tiles waiting on just the 7. And actually, if you look at this point, you're actually starting to look a little bit more towards a flush. Because now you have 6 months.
Well, now you got the double east, right?
Right.
So Yakuza is like back in play.
Yakuza
and I'm debating on whether or not to open up and just trust that I'm going to get the 3rd east. Like, play real gutsy and open. And I think that's where I go.
You should be discarding the 8-9 then. Yeah, see, you're locking in your pairs when you don't have to. Because you already have the pair of 6s as well on your Monzu side, with the 7-8 waiting for the 6-9. So you can be flexible where your pairs are. By locking it in, it makes it harder for you to get tiles to finish your hand. And
pull
so
the
the
trigger too
8-9
early.
waiting for just one tile is not as useful for you. And by the way, if you had kept the 2, if you draw the 1, so that's the Dora, right? So now you have 1, 2, 3, 3, and you can
Oh,
discard the other 3.
I can totally admit that I forget about Dora all the time. I just completely forget they exist.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I'm actually most of the way there, but the guy just gets it too fast. Even with me just racing for speed, like I don't get there quick enough. And
And I mean,
unfortunately,
at that,
he's got the concealed triplets hand for 3 Han, and I lose another like 1,300. So I bleed about 1,000 a hand every hand so far.
yeah. But you see what I'm getting at in terms of like being flexible, especially when you don't necessarily know where you're going with it.
Yeah, I think like I get obsessed with trying to win fast, and I try to just commit so that I don't have to think anymore.
Yeah, and the thing is that like you may not think that holding, say, a 2-3-3 shape is making it fast, but if you think about what tiles could complete that meld, then you realize that by keeping that particular shape, it actually helps you try to accelerate to finish your hand faster, as opposed to like
So
locking in
here,
your
I
pairs
think
or
what I'm doing is I'm agonizing over what to discard. And I decide on the one. I figure it's one sided. It's not really what I want. I think like San Shoku is in play here, as is, you know, a very long shot at Ipeco.
yeah, that's a very long shot.
Yeah, I mean, I need two
Would I?
sevens, right? That's what I need.
Yeah, see, this is kind of tough. I would have, I might think that instead of the 1 being superfluous, I might have considered the 5-pin instead.
Yeah, that's exactly what Viltrus in chat is saying. He agrees the 5P probably could go.
And see when you discarded that 5 so right there.
Yep.
Um, if you looked at it as a 4-5-5-6, if you split it up into a 4-5 and a 5-6, then you would have realized that the 2 is extraneous. And now you have possibly 2 melds with that 4-5-5-6, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I don't know why I'm still holding on to that 5 pin. I don't know what I'm waiting for there, other than I have the 4-5-6, I've got the 5-5-6, and I've got just the 5. So I think I'm still hoping like Sanshoku might show its head. I think that's where I'm at mentally, if I had to guess. Since I already discarded
Yeah, and
one
you got
5, I discard the other.
yeah. See that 3 would have helped you, right? Because now you would have had the 3-4-5, and then you would have had the 5-6 waiting for the 4-7. If you had kept that first 5, so discard.
Right.
And now at this point, Pinfu's looking like, or Tanya's looking like more of a possibility. You can start ditching the 9s.
Let's see if that's what I do. I'm hovering the 9.
The only hang up with your Tanya still is the 2-3, because you cannot wait for the 1 in that case. In which then you might just discard the 2-pin outright, because you're gonna have to wait for the inside weight with the 3-5 regardless.
So I get rid of the 6 at this point, and
Which is the
I think
Dora.
the idea is that I'm gonna start. I think I was debating on whether or not I just want to start calling stuff. I think that's where I put
And
that.
you need to get out of this hand now. With the dealer Riichi, and you're not close. I mean, you just discard the 2 9 mons, and then hope you find something else you can discard into that hand. Fighting here is not good.
At the same time, one of the things that's influencing the play here dramatically is that I don't like the stakes are super low, right? So
Uh huh.
what's at risk here is 50,000 yen of in-game currency,
Uh huh.
and I have 1.7 mil on me, and probably like another 12 million in the bank. So
See,
50,000
so
yen isn't like enough to make me like sweat it. So I definitely am playing like looser than I would be if there was like real financial stakes.
and here's the thing. Um, I'm gonna say this from personal experience is that if I don't focus on being serious and playing well all the time, I will play poorly because I will fall into bad habits. I will not think about things and I will just get myself into trouble and then I'll be yelling at my monitor at why am I losing, getting third and fourth. And it's because I'm not actually, focusing and trying as hard as I want to. And so I get what I deserve. And, that's seriously what it is. So if
Yep.
you're just
So
if you're kind
here
of
I
just
get
messing
roamed up.
around, then you know the best I can do at this point is just kind of point out things. But I mean, at this point, when if you could say you got blown up and you were being a little bit more aggressive, if you're being more aggressive without really thinking it through, then it's kind of, you kind of do get what you deserve, to be honest.
Yeah. So now I'm very distantly in last place. Um, so one thing I think is worth asking: how far behind before you realistically can rage quit in mahjong? Like, how far behind do you have to be to just be like, oh, I give up?
Um, I mean, it depends. I
So
mean,
I'm
if you're playing,
20,000 behind first place, right?
I mean, when I was playing in the Nina High yesterday, I came back from a 37,000 point deficit. I was in second place with 22,000, and first place had 60,000, and I managed to turn it around and win the game. There was another time in the first day that I was playing in the Nina High where I was sitting in second place and fourth place sumo to Yakuman, which basically leveled the scores. Um, it's not nothing. If you're playing in a tournament, that's one thing. You're gonna fight regardless because usually you want to avoid being last. If you're in a game like on the ladder, you might end up, resigning yourself and you a little bit sooner than that. But realistically, if we're talking about a full South game, I mean anything can happen. Like you may not get first, but then your goal becomes maybe not to finish in last, right? Depending upon what the scenario of the game is. If you're
Okay,
still going to
so
lose money if you finish third, then this is what it is. But
I think that makes sense, and like that's again one of the differences here is that the only acceptable condition here is first place, right? Like I don't want to accept anything that isn't first.
well, then you need to fight with everything you got. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter what the point total is then.
yeah. I stay in here. I've got the Yaku High going right. I'm like, okay, I've got a chance here, uh, and I'm kind of battling. I definitely don't safe discard.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Because sometimes what you're able to do is the Japanese term is shibu shibu, where basically you're shuffling your tiles around, avoiding dealing in, but still trying to work your way towards tempai. It might take you longer to get there, but at least you're not paying into your opponents because if you think about it, if you pay directly into somebody, the deficit increases by twice as much, right? So if you pay somebody 8,000, realistically you're falling behind by 16,000.
Yeah, and now this guy wound up sumoing. I didn't deal into him. It's not a huge hand. It's just another drain that I didn't need. So this
I mean,
hand,
and again,
I flop what would have been like awesome last round, and it's now not good. Like the three E's here don't help me at all.
But you keep them because the way your direction. I mean, yes, the 9 mon is the Dora, but realistically, your hand looks like a Honitsu, half flush again.
Which again, yeah, it's another hand that I always forget to look for, and I forget to look for it again here. So
But you
what
see
do
what
I
I'm
need to
saying?
complete the Honitsu? What would I have needed?
Basically, any Sozu tile and any honor tiles. I don't care what you draw. You just got to draw those, and then you can figure out the rest later. Because the
Ah,
minute you start discarding one of them, you are possibly running into furry tin issues later, and you do not need that because your hand is already bad enough as it is. This isn't even all that bad, but it's really pointing you in one direction only.
yeah, and I
You only
guarantee I
have.
don't pick up on it.
Oh yeah,
I'm
no,
100% sure I
you mentioned
won't.
you don't, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, if you look at if you look at your entire hand, there are only 3 tiles in your hand that are not going towards that Honitsu, right? The 1 mon, the 9 mon, the 3 pin. That's it.
I think I get rid of the 3. I think that's what I do here. We'll see. I think I'm checking Yaku here because I'm confused what I might have, right? Because I think in the full flush, you're allowed one set of honors, right?
Well, a full flush is no honors. It's just the suit.
Okay. All right.
That's
probably
why.
what I'm
That's why
looking
it's
at.
a half flush. It includes honors.
So maybe I do recognize Honitsu here. Let's see what I do. I'm thinking the 3 goes first. Spending too much time discussing it. Oh,
Okay,
what?
just
All
got
right,
the
I get
door.
rid of the
That's
9.
fine.
And then I
The
drew
white
a white
dragon's not
dragon. I
great.
got rid of it.
I would still again. I'd hold on to them for dear life until the second one drops, because now you can't complete that for your Yaku. You can't do Yakuhai with that, right?
So here's
And
another thing. I'm closed and I can con, right? And we have talked how con really only benefits the person who's going to win. It doesn't benefit anybody else, right?
right, and the
So
thing is that, and let me make that a little bit more clearer quickly. So, an open con like what you would have to do here will not benefit you. You do get the benefit of one extra Dora, but everybody else, because they're still closed, gets the benefit of that plus the Uradora, because they can just declare Riichi still. You don't have that ability anymore. Now, if you drew that 4th East yourself and you closed con, that's a different story.
well, we'll get to talk about that later. Uh, so I think I agonize here and I try to figure out when you would actually ever call this, and I call it for whatever reason.
And you just carded the Force so earlier.
Yeah, and I don't know what I'm going for at this point.
Yeah, yeah. You can still go for the Honitsu, but that Forso is going to be a thorn in your side. Because even if you draw, say, the 5,
I
now
definitely
the 4
didn't
is not
recognize
useful for you.
Honitsu then. Like I just didn't even recognize it as a Yaku I had. Right?
Yeah. Did you know about Chanta?
I don't know what Chanta is. What is that?
Chanta is like having a tile that's on the either an on or a terminal in every single one of your melts. So like 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, a pair or a triplet of honors, or like a pair or triplet of like the 1s or 9s. If you're asking me what it is, then probably not.
Well, no, I didn't even know what that was.
Okay.
But all honors and terminals is like 13 orphans, but this is like a brother of that hand. You're saying
it's just you just need like a one of your tiles to be a terminal or an honor. So a 1, 2, 3, right? So you have the 1.
Yeah.
And Chanta you can open for. So.
Well, that I didn't know.
Yep.
Okay, so that's another. See, like just having a database of the Yaku like firmly in memory is something that like I don't have.
Yeah, and if you don't have that when you're first looking at your hand, then you're handicapping yourself right from the get-go. because, like I said, once you discard a tile, it's like basically committing. Because you
What
don't
is
have a
it that I
Yaku.
think I have here?
You have nothing.
There's no hand here, right? Like I can't
No.
possibly. What Yaku am I shooting for here?
So there are cases here where you go for what's called K10 Tenpai or Yakuless Tenpai, and the reason why you would do that is that you're going towards a draw, and so you don't pay the penalty. In
Yeah.
your case, yeah, the AC you couldn't have won off the 8, somebody else did, right?
Yep.
But your hope is that you get to a draw, and it doesn't matter if your hand has a Yaku or not. If you are Tenpai, you still get the Tenpai payments.
Yeah. I know. That's for sure. I don't know what I was going for there. I honestly am looking at that video. I almost want the audio on because I am so confused. What what did I think I had? What did I see in my Google search that made me think, oh yeah, I got this. I should take this. So I don't know what I had there. I don't know what I thought I was gonna get. I'm confused. I don't know why I conned. All I did was help the other person. Fortunately, I didn't pay in, so it was fine.
Right.
But
So,
I'm still in dead last at this point.
In this particular case here, I probably would have discarded the 6 and kept the 9. And now that you've drawn the 4, oh yeah, see, you're locking things in.
Also, I have no belief in flush. Like, I never, ever once in my life have gotten Chinitsu. It's never happened.
Well, Chinitsu is one thing. Honitsu is another. Honitsu at least is a little bit better.
Again, you got to remember, I don't remember that Honitsu exists half the time.
No. I know.
Yeah.
But the reason why I'm driving the point home is like, when you're doing Honitsu, you start intimidating the others, especially if they don't know whether or not you're going for a Honitsu or a Chinitsu. Because a Chinitsu, even open, is worth 8,000 points before Dora. If it's closed, it's 12,000.
I bet I'm looking at Ipeco here. That's my guess.
Which you're close to. You have 2, 3, 3, 4, 4.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm looking at. So I realize I can't pwn this and I pass it. Right? Because I think Ipeco is the way to go now.
The 5 is useful. I discard the 1 so here.
Yeah, I'm definitely agonizing over what it is I need to get rid of.
Because the 1 so you can lock in your 1, 2, 3, and now you're just looking towards your Manzu to finish your melts. You could take
a closed Ipeco here is only worth like what, one Han?
1.
Yeah, just 1.
You can't even. It's not even worth anything open.
Yeah, we're 0 open, 1 closed. This is not like a big points hand.
But the thing is, you can Riichi here. This is
and
Riichi
I am debating on it, right? I'm like, should I Riichi?
Sorry, it's not Pinfu. It's the 3/8. Sorry. It's just it is just Riichi, but you're waiting for the 1/4 at least.
I think I'm looking at this and trying to figure out like why I can Riichi here and like what it's gonna get me. Because I need I was like, I have the 5 still. Like, why can't I reach here, right? I shouldn't be able to, unless it's gonna be a much lower point hand. And I was like, let's look.
So you're waiting
and it'll
for
show you the winning tiles, right?
Yeah. So by waiting for the 1/4, like yes, there's only 1/1 left. But
so I decided to pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, and you're East, right? You're dealer. You want to keep your dealership, right?
That's the other reason I pulled the trigger, I think.
Yep.
So now I just wait and hope, there it is. That right there, I believe...
It's going to be a cheaper hand unless you hit Uradora, but...
Nah, I'm saying, though, I think right there, that is the first successful Riichi hand I've ever played. Like, I have never been able to reach and then win. Every time I've ever done it, I just lose the 1,000-point stick. Somebody gets it first. So, I think that's one of the first times ever that I actually recognized I was Tenpai, called Reach, and then won. Because that never happens for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I finally won as dealer. I got the 1.5x bonus. I'm still far behind. But
Yep.
you know, I'm excited now, right? I'm like definitely hype, feeling myself.
You're probably talking about like how you could win hand after hand after hand because you're a dealer and get
Yep.
back in it, judging from your gestures.
Yeah, Viltrus, I totally agree with you here. He's talking about how in meat space, it doesn't tell you when you can call reach. You know, there's no way to know. You have to be
In where?
totally confident that you're correct, right? It's one of the reasons that I think Riichi Mahjong is extraordinarily difficult to learn to play in person, is because the digital systems around it are such a convenience crutch that when you
Yep.
go to play live, it's immobilizing.
Yeah.
Not knowing if you can reach, not knowing if you're furry 10, not knowing what your weights are, not being able to recognize, you know, what's available, stuff like that is really common. And I find it like really agonizing to play in person for that reason, especially with other people that do play a lot in person because they're notoriously impatient, right? Like that's it's been my experience. Um, you know, people do not like to wait while playing mahjong much.
Yeah, it depends on who you're playing with. I mean, when our club has our beginners teaching sessions, like we don't. The only time we get impatient with somebody is if we've taught them a concept over and over again and they're still not getting it. That'd be about the only time I can imagine us getting impatient at somebody in the beginners table. But otherwise, like, unless if you're in our league setting, that's a different thing because we're timed, so that's different.
Yeah, another thing, and Viltrus just mentioned this too. This has definitely happened to me. I've missed calling Yakuza at the start of a game because I haven't even sorted my hand before someone else is discarded.
And the thing is that in that particular case, you are well within your bounds to say, hold up, give me a second. That's you're more within you're really within your bounds to say that.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's a bad habit to sort your hand, um, but you know, as a
It's
beginner,
generally in
it's
Chinese mahjong. In Japanese mahjong, you don't have to worry about that as much.
yeah,
I
that's
doubt
true.
there's less people that can recognize your hand if you sort it in Japanese than in Chinese.
Yeah, I wish I didn't have to, but I'm with Viltrus. I've definitely missed tiles before. Like, oh wait, oh he discarded it. It's already two people past him. Well, I guess I gotta hold that L. So I'm probably trying to figure out what I can go for here. I'm seeing, you know, the 5-6. I've got the 4-5, and I've got the 5-6. So I'm probably thinking
Oh,
Sanshoku is like where my mind is going.
so here's the thing, right? You had the pair of eights, which means you could have discarded the pair of nines, and now you have Tanya,
Yeah, I
right?
think I think I'm chasing Sanshoku here, right?
Yeah. So so basically, it seems like there's a couple things. Just again, so you don't have to keep on beating a dead horse. One is you got to get more familiar with the Yaku, because if you don't recognize Honitsu, that's you know there's no point in talking about that over and over. And second of all, is to be flexible with your hand as much as possible, right? Think about what you could use, um, and don't necessarily lock things in quickly unless the rest of your hand looks good.
I'm probably like overconfident as well about whether or not the rest of my hand looks good. Like, yeah, that looks great. Let's go.
So this actually looks well. The problem is if you had not discarded the 5-so, you're one away, because then you could discard the 9-mon, and even though you don't have Tanyao, there's still a possibility for you to get Pinfu out of it. Oh, and you draw the 7.
Yep. Yep. So now I have the 5-6-7. I got the
Yeah,
five
see,
seven, and I got the 5-6-7. Right. So now I'm hype. Right. I'm
yeah,
like
but you'd be Tempai right now if you had kept some of the other tiles, right? If you had kept the
Tenpai for not
5-so,
Sanshoku.
so if you kept the 5-so and you had kept the 8-mon and you discard the 2 9s, then that 7 actually puts you in Tempai. You would have discarded the 7 mon and then waited for the 4/7 pin. Does that? I don't know if you can see that based upon what I was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of see it. I think here I got drunk off the idea of making this dealer Sanshoku Dojun happen. I'm like, oh snap, I'm gonna get this. It's good. Yeah, I can feel it. I started getting real excited because the tiles were also like tantalizingly helpful, right? Getting the 4, getting the 7, like, I'm probably feeling super excited right now and trying to agonize over what I need to dump.
Yeah, at this point, you'd have to dump the pair of 9 mons and then hope for a pair elsewhere.
So,
But
Viltrus,
you're
the
limited.
reason why going for the bigger hand here isn't that smart of an idea is that this is my last chance at dealer. So, repeatedly getting like small hits here at the 1.5x could do a lot for bringing me back into relevance. So, I'm probably wrong to chase the bigger hand, actually.
Yeah, because if you think about it, Viltrus, then when you have your dealership, you could theoretically extend the game forever, right? Assuming that there's no box, so you can go below 0. But that's the only time in which you, in particular, can extend the game. You can control that, right? Once your dealership passes, then you can't control whether or not they're going to keep their dealership. And if they keep their dealership, that means they've either won or they're Tempai. If they're Tempai, it's not so bad. If they've won, that might mean you're losing points. And that means it's not helping your situation, right? When you're dealer, that is the time to try and control the action. Well, I mean, you're trying to control the action no matter what. But it's even more important here because then you can control how you can try to extend the game out further.
So then
And try to
Ipeko
make a
shows up.
deficit back. Huh?
Then Ipeko shows up on my plate as well.
You don't have Ipeko, but you can certainly, if you're gonna push, you'd reach
I'm
on the 7
double-ended
mon.
Ipeko, right?
Huh?
I'm double-ended Ipeko here. I'm like, I can get the 5 or the 8 for the win.
Yeah,
right?
but you're Tempai. You're just Tempai for Pinfu right now. And that's your win.
There it is.
See, if you're gonna push by discarding the 7, you declare Riichi, because that would have been Riichi 8 pots because he would have directly paid into you, and Pinfu. That's 3 Han.
Yeah.
Plus
instead,
a possible Uradora, which we don't know.
Yeah, I get a small little win. I think I'm trying to figure out here why I didn't get more Han. Like I was expecting that I had a bigger win. So I won on the wrong tile. Like of the weights I had, I mistakenly accepted a roll of a weak tile.
You don't have Sanshoku. You don't have any of that. You have none of that.
Well, I mean, I wanted to wait on the Sanshoku, right?
There is no Sanshoku with that weight.
I think didn't I have the 4-5-6
No.
on both?
No.
And I was waiting for I don't remember. All right, whatever. Or I was waiting for the Ipeko maybe. But
No,
instead
but
of taking the Ipeko win, I took the other win, which was just the no points.
There's you don't have the Ipeko win either. You would have to swap out the 5 and the 8 for the other.
Yeah, that's true. So I think I thought I had that and took the wrong and then realized like, oh no, I took a no points hand win. Oh well, like still okay, right?
Yeah, but if you're going to discard in this particular case here, if you're going to push like you are, and you don't care about the Riichi to your left, then you have a 2-sided way. Just to go declare Riichi yourself.
So here's another one of these hands with like no super strong obvious thing to do and a whole like mess of like potential dragony type stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like I wind up with this all night, like this hand with just a bunch of honor tiles, no duos ever, you know.
Yeah, in this particular, it's a matter of preference. You could the 8 is a fine discard. I might discard the 1-3 pin, because or I might discard with the 1 pin first. It's really a flip of the coin because realistically, like again, the only thing I can look at right here that's
no points hand is Pinfu, by the way, Viltrus. That is correct.
What say?
He said, "What is a no points hand?" That's Pinfu.
Oh. Um,
He says, "I would." He's wondering about getting rid of the 8M here. He wants to know what it does for us that the 556 doesn't do.
the thing is that if the rest of your hand looked good and looked better, like let's say the 3-5 was a 4-5, and let's say the 1-3 was a 2-3, and let's say you didn't have the two dragons, but you had like a 3-5 of one of the other suits, right? Your hand looks a lot better, and your weights are look a lot better, and so discarding the 8 is fine. Because remember, I talked to JJ about the 4-5-5-6, right? You can split it into a 4-5 and a 5-6, right? The issue is that in this particular case, as with some of the other hands that we've seen, the rest of Kurikaze's hand is just awful. There's almost nothing to work with. You have single honor tiles, you have middle weights. You're basically looking for a miracle to draw those. You'll get it sometimes, but you certainly can't depend on it. So much like some of the other hands, and again, I'm going to beat a dead horse. If you're in this particular case, you'd keep the honor tiles, you'd keep the Manzu tiles, especially since Manzu tiles are Dora, and you go for the Honitsu. And in that case, you keep all your Manzu tiles until its shape becomes more clearer to you. So in this particular case, you keep the 8-mon just because it's a Manzu tile. You'll figure out the rest later. If the rest of his hand would look good, if it wasn't trash, like Korikaze said that his hands have been the entire night, then yeah, you might actually discard the 8-mon because it's just an extraneous tile. Does that make sense?
You can see that I'm even a little stuck up here. I'm scrolling back and forth infinitely here, trying to figure out what to get rid of.
So the 6 at least improves you. You could have discarded the 3, right? Because you already discarded the 8. But by doing so, it kind of restricts what you draw later. Because even if you draw, the 7, it's not like you can extend that further because you've discarded the 8. So even tiles that are still a gap of 1 away can still be useful if you somehow manage to draw the tile in between. And while the odds of that are low, if you're pairing it with something else, like in this case the Honitsu, then it's worth keeping because you don't want to run into issues later. Because this is the Sozu tile side of it with the 8 so that he discarded, it's not as bad. But you just have to recognize that, the extent of what you can work with your Sozu tiles is much less.
Yeah, and I think, and Viltrus is kind of commenting the same thing. I think we're just too unafraid of inside weights, and I think your battle hardness is that like you have no faith in the inside weight, for sure.
I have less patience for the inside weight.
Yeah, I probably have too much. So here I finally wise up and decide to get rid of it, and then I pair up.
Now a Pinfu shape is possible. Or not even Pinfu, sorry, Tanyao shape is possible.
I was like, I bet I'm debating on pulling the trigger on Tanyao here.
Yeah, you can. Oh, yeah, you're committing to your pairs again.
Yep, I certainly am.
You call the 3-5.
I wonder if I'm committing to Chitoitsu here.
No.
Then I abandon that idea and I go Tanyao. So I get rid of the 1.
You have 4 pairs and the pairs are connected, so it's not as. There's definitely more you can work with.
Yeah, so I'm just going for speed here now, trying to finish out the hand.
And you see where that 4 discard of the 4-mon puts you into trouble? Because now you can't because if you pawn this 3-pin or the 6-so, you can't discard the 5-mon to wait for the 4-7 because you've already discarded the 4.
Yeah, and then I get beat to the punch, right? I was getting there, but unfortunately, they went with the all simples, all triplet hand. And wind up beating me there, so I don't get to keep my comeback rolling. So at this point, I'm sad. I'm hoping I can take down just one hand and get ahead of Mia. That's about it, right?
Yep. So this is where you'd have to start thinking about your point difference. So you're 4,300 points adrift of third place. A two-han hand isn't going to be a direct hit. Two-han hand isn't going to be enough unless you don't have Pinfu when you win off of them. If you don't have Pinfu off of them, a two-han hand is 2,600, and that's a swap of 5,200 points, and that would be enough to overtake third. So you just need a two-han hand, and you would have to hit third place. If you were to self-draw, then I think you need a three-han hand, because that's 3,900, 4,900. Oh, that's still...
Yeah, so see, I got the 6, 7, 8. I'm happy about that, right?
Yep.
I've got the 2, 3. I've got the 7, 8, 8. Like, things are flowing here, right? Then I get the chance for a closed con, right?
No, that's open.
Well, I mean, I would have to open to take it, right? And I'm like,
yes.
Do I want to? I was like, let's go. I need the Uradora if I win, right?
You don't have Uradora if you call.
Or I need the second Dora. I mean, I think that's what I was hoping for there. Is that if I go, like, I need more points than I would normally have, right?
Yeah, but this hand is guaranteed 2,000. Well,
and there I get the win.
I think it's actually it's 2,600 maybe. I think it might be 240.
So see, I only have the one Dora. It didn't pan out big enough like I'd hoped.
Well, you know how many Dora you have because you don't have any Uradoras, so what you see is what you get.
Right, I'm saying that's why I conned though to get the second one, right?
Yeah, like I said,
I was hoping for, because if it had been the Green Dragon or something, like imagine how hype I would have been, right?
I mean, sure.
So I've battled back to 20,000 from 11,000, right? Like the start of the game was disastrous. So I'm like, okay, here it's South 4. I've got a shot at least eclipsing one player at this point, right? Like that's what I'm hoping for.
Okay, that's correct. Unfortunately, a simple 1,000 point hand won't be enough. Yeah, you'd have to get a two-han hand still.
Since I don't know scoring very well, I'm probably not thinking about that. Probably just. So again, Ipeko shows up again, right? 5, 5, 6, 7, 7, right?
But it's an inside wait, right? It's waiting for the 6. So your discard should have been, huh?
I'm probably very optimistic about it though, right?
Yeah, you should have discarded the 2 so probably. Because see that 3, the 2 is still not necessary because you have 3, 4, 5, and then 5, 6.
Well, I'm thinking 7. I've got 2, 3, 4 now, and I've got 5, 5, 6. So I keep the 5s now.
And you lock in the pair again. And the problem is that you've already discarded the 1 so you can't even discard the 5 because you'd have furry 10 problems.
So I pair up the 7, but it doesn't really help here.
It does. You have 5 pairs.
Let's see if I chase Pt2 or not. What do I do? I'm curious. I don't remember.
If you do, I'd discard the 6 pin.
Well, like I said, I'm believing in the Ipeko probably very strongly here.
Yeah.
Even though there's 2 discarded. I just realized that it's only one out there. I wonder if I noticed that. If I pick up on the fact that Mia's already discarded 2 of them.
Where are you going with this?
Oh, do you mean like all trios? Is that what you're asking about?
Who?
Viltrus.
Oh. Oh, you discarded the Dora.
Again, I
Pretty.
always forget to look at the Dora.
Oh. And now you have Furryton issues because you got that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is waiting for the 1, 4, 7.
Yeah, I'm definitely just chasing Ipeco only. That's where like my brain is locked onto. I think I'm talking through the fact that even if I open up here, I think I am like I don't have any Yaku. I can't win if I open. That's
Well,
what I'm guessing.
you
I'm
got rid of
talking
your
through.
Doris, and now your hand's only worth 1,000. Although with the Riichi, it's now 2,000 points if you win because you get the Riichi stick. But you
What did I
probably
open
don't
up here
recognize
for?
that either.
There's no hand here, right?
I
There's
mean,
no Yaku.
Tanyao,
What?
you discard 6, so your top 10 pie for Tanyao.
Oh, that's probably what it is.
But you discard the 6, so it's not safe. And you're basically on a 1 outer because there's only 1 left.
Yeah. Again, I didn't even look at the person of the right's discards. I would have known better. That's like the first critical mental breakdown.
The good news is that you're in third.
Yep. Like I creep ahead of Mia here. But we have to play again because it was a draw game, right? It doesn't end.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Villagers is saying Dora is really Mahjong 102, not 101. I agree. It's definitely not something you think about until you actually get used to winning hands. When you feel like you never win, then you don't think of Dora. I gotta go check on the dog. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, I'll just talk through the hand while you're doing that then. So at this point, with Kuroikaze in third, if that's all, and the thing is that he's only 7,500 points away from first. So any 3-Han hand direct hit off of dealer it actually will turn it around and he'll win. So if you're looking for a 3-Han hand, Riichi would be 1. There's a Dora with the 3-mon, so that's 2. So you just have to find 1 other Yaku elsewhere. With this hand, it's a lot harder. There's broken stuff everywhere. You'd have to hope for Pinfu at this point. And it's not looking too bad because now he has the 4-5-5 shape and the 7-7-8 shape. He has a 1-1-2-3. That is perfect. Don't discard. You discarded the 1. Why did you discard the 1? So by keeping the 1, you now have your pair of 1s and the 2-3, right? And you don't need to commit to the 5-so or the 7-so being your pair. You would discard the 6-8 mon because you still need to keep the 3-mon Dora. So now you're hoping for Riichi Pinfu Dora, and it's looking closer and closer that you're going to get there. That's basically what you'd be looking at this point.
All right, I return.
Okay. So I was saying that when you had the 1-1-2-3 pin shape, you locked in another pair again. By discarding the 1 pin when you shouldn't have. You should have gotten rid of the 6-8.
Viltrus has filled me in on what you said. Oh man. Then look at this. I was like, "Hey, I made it to third place." Roaned. My face in the previous stream is super unhappy.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, I know. I've got it hidden, but it's I can see it. it's it's hands in front of face, like complete emotional breakdown as I get knocked all the way back down to under where I was before. I like crawled up from 11,000 all the way. I made it into third, and then that motherfucker comes and just takes it all away, undoes me completely. Right? So, all right, I'm gonna skip forward here because there's gonna be some load screens and stuff. Okay, so it's a new day. I discarded the North last round because didn't have any value for me.
Fine.
So I got him on the 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, right?
Uh-huh.
I got the 1, 7, 8, 1, 4, 5, 8, 8, and then just the white dragon. So I'm
So
probably thinking of getting rid
if
of the one. I think that's probably where I'm at mentally.
right. And so the question that you always want to ask yourself is, and you'll learn this over time, is what tile is the most useless? And so the north is certainly useless because it's not your wind.
I've actually
The
been using
Yakuza,
a trainer, a simulator for that. That gives you hands, and then you pick one, and it tells you like, yes, you did the right choice. Like that one has the like least amount of benefits, and leaves 54 tiles that improve your hand or whatever. Like I actually been using a trainer to get better at picking stuff to get rid of.
yep.
Now
Yeah,
that
the
stuff
number
doesn't take into account how far behind or ahead you are, or it's just pure math engine, right?
it's pure tile efficiency, and you need to have that as your base. Now, you don't have to follow it 100%. Like when I put one of my videos on YouTube, what I said was that not everybody should be playing the same way in terms of 100% tally efficiency, right? Because then it's easier to read what everybody else is doing once you get to that point. It's like in poker. If everybody plays the full EV game, then generally it's like, oh, well, he raised me here, he's representing this, so I should fold, right? If
Yeah,
you
I mean
become easy,
basically
if you become easier to read, then it makes it harder for you to win, right? Because then they can kind of put you on something.
yeah. Now I'm gonna guess that Yakuza doesn't have reactive AI.
No.
It doesn't, it doesn't look at my hand history and make any kind of assertions about the way I play or anything like that. It's probably playing each of these players probably has a variant algo, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
in the devout and platinum and shumai shopkeeper are probably set to some default values.
Yep.
And it might even all be set to the exact same like expert player AI for all I know, right?
Right. And
Uh,
so this is where, like, again, person versus computer, this is where learning the tally efficiency will drastically help you. The term for like discarding and then tiles you're waiting for is ukeire. And like you don't know how to describe it necessarily, but it's like, what discard can you make that leaves you with the most amount of tiles that you can accept into your hand? Because realistically, that's what you want. Because it's one thing if you get the quickest to tempai, but you're waiting on one tile, as opposed to maybe having an extra turn or two, but now you're waiting on 3 different tiles, right? There's a big difference, right?
so let's
If it's
let's look
one
at
tile,
the hand that's in front of us, right?
sure.
Um, the obvious cruft is gone now. The ones are gone. They were
Yep.
obvious discards. Now it
Yep.
gets, and that we just drew the 4. The 4 is also probably an obvious discard as well, right? 4 so.
Right. But time out here, right? So the 4 is the obvious discard. And or well, it's either the Haku or the 4
Yeah.
would be the most, right? This would be a case. You remember, Vitrus, when you're talking about that 8-mon that you thought was extraneous and that you should get rid of? In this particular case, I would actually consider dropping the 4-pin here. Even though with that 4-4-5 shape, you can accept a 3, a 4, or a 6. Now you're wondering why.
Yeah, I am.
So here's the thing. I don't know if either of you are familiar with the 5 block theory, right? When you have a Mahjong hand, it's 4 melds of 3 and 1 pair, right? That's 5 different blocks. So now you start looking at your hand and trying to separate it into 5 blocks. You couldn't do this in some of the hands that Kurikaze had earlier because it was the other blocks were just awful. They're like single tile blocks. But here, it's more defined. So let's look at it. You have the 4, 5, 6 mon, right? That is 1 completed block. You're done. You have the 6, 7 mon. That is a partial. There's a proto meld. It's a partial meld. You need the 5, 8. That's your second block. You have the 7, 8 Sozu waiting for the 6, 9. That is your third block. You have the pair of 8s. That's your pair. That's your fourth block. If your pair of 8s is your fourth block, then you have a 4, 4, 5 shape. You want the 2-sided weight. You want the 3, 6 weight. If that's the case, then you don't want the 4. And it's a middle tile, right? And it's close to the Dora. So by discarding the 4 early, you're basically saying, you know, I don't want to hold on to this tile later where it might become dangerous if somebody reaches.
Yeah. Defense is definitely also not part of my 101 curriculum. I'm definitely
defense comes later, right? But in this particular case, you know, you would discard the 4 pin for defense. You discard the 4 pin because you're going to try to increase your value because now you have the possibility of you're locking in Pinfu, and if you get the 6, so you've got Tanyao. And the third thing is that yes, it's the 3. You can get the 3, 4, 6 with that 4, 4, 5, but you know what one tile you really want? You want the 3 pin because that's the door. So if you're gonna wait for the 3, 6 anyways, the 4 needs to go. And see, now the 4 is stuck in your hand. With the Riichi by dealer, first of all, nothing's safe, right? There's nothing in what dealers discarded that's safe. But now that 4 pin is like poison in your hand. You want to discard it, but you can't.
So I get rid of the dragon. Doesn't really get me near. I get rid of another 9. No significant change there.
Well, the 4 so safe, right? So now you can at least get 1 step closer. Oh, that's perfect. Now you have Tanya possibilities. Discard the 4 so. But the problem is you are still going to have the issue with the 4 pin. Now, you don't have to go for Pinfu anymore, but you can still go for Tanya. Why? Because Platinum Masako has dropped the 5 pin. The 5 pin's now safe. So now you can discard the 4. Now you have a path to Tenpai. Discard the 4 so, discard the 5 pin, and then your Tenpai, which means you're going to have to call either the 4 or the 8 pin.
Let's see if I pick up on that.
Oh, see, you drew the door. Now you have to discard the 4. Question, is it safe?
Do I pull the trigger on it?
I'm guessing you do, based upon the other things.
I do, and I get away with it.
Yep. And you win. You should have declared Riichi. Because this is Pinfu. Tanya Pinfu. Riichi, Tanya, Pinfu, Dora. That's 7,700 points.
Oh.
Also, that would have been Epot. Sorry, that's 5 Han. That's 8,000. And that's before the Uradora. Remember how you hated Pinfu? This is the reason why it works so well, is because you add to things. Riichi, Ipatsu, Tanya, Pinfu, Dora, 5 Han, 8,000 points.
Yeah, I forgot the reach, so I cost myself the reach and the Ipatsu. Ipatsu I actually had to look up during the session because I didn't remember what it was. It's like someone got it off me, and I was like, what is that? What did I lose?
Yeah. That's where defense in the first discard after a Riichi is 100% important. So yes, you took points from there, but you left points on the table.
Yeah, I could have gotten more.
Because it could have, if you had any Uradora, it would have gone to 12,000 points.
Ugh.
Riichi, Ipatsu, Tanya, Pinfu, Dora, 1 Uradora is 6 Han, 12,000 points. It's a Hanemon.
It like so that's completely just a forgotten. It wasn't like I made the intelligent decision to not call reach. I just completely forgot. I was just like,
Yeah.
oops.
And you had Pinfu.
Yeah, I don't get Pinfu very often. Not nearly as often as I've gotten Tanyao.
I think part of that's because you lock in your pairs so quickly.
Very likely.
Because here, you should be either getting rid of the east or the 1-2 pin.
And I get rid of the 1 pin. I agree.
All right, now you discard the 4-so because that's 100%. Well, I guess, okay, fine. You discard the east, but it's not great.
And it's already over.
Well, you can't.
Like, look how
you can't
fast
do
my
anything.
dealership gets crushed.
You cannot do anything about that.
Yeah.
There's just nothing
And
you can do
look at what he
that.
gets. Look at this shit. Look at this. I lose 6,000 right away. I was like, what?
Yep.
Turn 4, this guy produces a Hanemon for 12,000. Come the hell on, man. What am I supposed to do about this? I'm just so bummed.
I mean, okay. So
this is actually where I Google epots because I didn't know what it was. So when
I
mentioned that earlier, that's why I was kind of laughing.
Let me cover a couple things for you guys that might help you put your mind at ease when you're playing further. First of all, when things happen like that, I mean, I just look at it and go, well, I couldn't have done anything about that, right? Unfortunately, that's just Mahjong. Now, that doesn't help. But here's another thing that might help you. When you think there's an early reach on the first row, if I remember correctly, the statistics say that by the end of the first row of tiles, somebody is probably close to Tenpai, if not there already. And if it's not you, it might be somebody else. Also, split the game into 3 parts: the first row, the second row, and the third row. By the end of the first row, you should know whether or not you want to push forward with your hand or not, if you have a realistic chance. Because once you hit the second row, somebody's probably Tenpai, and so you're going to have to dance around their possible Riichi, and it's a question of whether or not your hand is worth it. And by the time you hit the third row, that's the end game. It's like, now you're considering trying to get maybe a Yakuza's Tenpai so that you don't have to pay the penalty, or just bailing completely so that you don't pay in.
All right, so let's look at this hand, right? I flop the pair of 4s and the trip 7s, right? I'm feeling myself. I get the 5 as well. Like, this is looking like a fast hand, right? To me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking
it's semi-fast.
I'm seeing like probably straight up just Tanyao. But let's go. Let's go forward a little. I'm debating on whether or not to even think about the Yaku High. I've seen the 2 Norths discarded, so I drop North, right? I get the 4-7 here, and this is where I freeze up. Because I actually don't know what you're supposed to do here.
You don't con immediately. So think about your blocks again, right?
So I actually go off to Google. I know that. I come back.
So you have the 3-4, you have the 4-5. Your 4-7s is technically a block. So it's 1, 2, 3 blocks. Your 3-3-4 is another block. Oh, you dropped the Dora. Okay, well, that's fine. Now you have 7-7-9. So you have your 5 blocks. Your 4-7s is just an extended block. You're gonna call con eventually. Usually you call con. Usually standard procedures you call con when you're basically 1 away from Tenpai, or when you would be Tenpai. And you can call for this hand as it stands because you discard the 9 pin. And in that case, then you don't even con the 7s. You would probably just discard one of them if it's still safe.
Yeah, I definitely became really confused here because I've never had this happen in a hand before.
Oh,
I've
you want to talk
never
about a weird situation in a hand, though? There was a hand in which I had 4-4-4-4, 5-6, 7-7-7-7. So technically, I could have conned either the 4s or the 7s.
So now I've got 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, right? So you know
Uh-huh.
me, you know that I'm like, hey, Ipeco has shown up, right?
That's fine. Do you know what your discard should be here?
It should be the 3.
Yes.
And I'm not. I'm going to get rid of the 4 because I know me. Watch this.
The funny bit is that you're also slowly working your way towards Suanko, possibly. It's a long shot still, but you have pairs and you have one triplet. And that's kind of where it starts. It's a long shot. Like you wouldn't do this unless you felt like you had time.
I think I might start looking at Shitoitsu here too.
Yeah,
I've
but you
got
have to
1,
discard 2
2,
sevens.
3, 4. To the 4 sevens don't count as 2 pairs.
They do not.
Does the con count as a triplet?
Yes. Because you draw a tile to replace it.
So again, I'm like super unsure what to do here because I've just never had a hand like this before. So I become agitated because it doesn't follow what I know what to do, right?
Well, and in that case, you just ask yourself, what's the least useful tile?
I mean, this round it's obviously the Haku, right?
Yep.
But I mean, just in general, I'm confused about how I should conduct the hand because I don't understand what I'm doing.
That too, it's not 100% safe, but you could discard it. The 4 you can discard. That you can discard. That you can discard. So if you pwn here, you discard the 7 and your Tempai. The 7 Mon and your Tempai. Because you can't con after you call. And the 7 is probably safe because of the 4 Mon. Oh, well, now you con. Because now you're technically Tempai. If you con the 7s...
Yeah, see, I'm confused by the hand, right? The hand is messed me up.
Oh, that's a sumo. That would have been Epot Sumo. Oh!
Like I said, I just don't understand the hand here, right?
But do you understand where I'm coming from now?
And then see, then I'm like, wait, I can reach here? Like, okay, should I just do that? I was like, okay, maybe I should just reach because I got it closed, right?
So when you had the 6, you would con and then Riichi. Now you're in a Furry-ten situation.
I thought you can't con and then Riichi, but look, I immediately, when I give up my 4th 7, I immediately am destroyed.
That's
I lose
why
instantly. Can you believe that? I was so shocked. I was like, I can't believe. And look, I paid dearly for it. I paid so hard. I want to remind you that I won the first hand. This game started off great. So what do? I give the first place person straight up 10,000 points.
I mean, and I told you, you're a Tempai, you could have conned the 7s, and now that person doesn't have a 7 to work with.
But like I said, I didn't understand how that works, right? Like, because it's never happened before. I've never drawn closed con and tried to reach, and I didn't understand that you can do that or what's the order that you do things. So that hand purely was me getting confused, but man, do I pay unbelievably dearly for what transpired. So I rage quit. After that, I literally straight up rage quit.
Do both of you guys understand what went on there? What should have gone on there?
I mean,
with that hand,
I think, like, yeah, I should have I thought that con opened my hand. Like, I don't count. I can't reach anymore.
If you have all 4 of them in your hand, it is a closed con, even though you show everybody that you have all 4, so they know you're not cheating. It's still considered closed because it was always within your hand.
See, and I didn't know that, right? So that's the critical misunderstanding, which is why I was trying to get a hold of you while I was doing this, and you were in a tournament and couldn't reply. So you
Yeah,
could have saved me there if you'd answered my messages, but you weren't there, and I didn't know what to
I was
do.
doing my own streaming, so
Yep, I crashed and burned hard. Like I said, I literally rage quit. You can see I went to an all new game because I was just like, I can't believe that just happened. I'm so upset, right? So I'm like, okay, let's start again. I don't want to try and battle back from such a massive misfortune, right?
all right. So what? Look, take a look at this one. Based upon what we've been talking about, like what
Let's
would
get the
you?
next tile in hand because the north is too obvious of a discard. Okay.
No, but remember, it's not. And this isn't even not talking about what your discard is. This is talking about where you think your hand is going to go. Remember, I said when I start looking at my hand, I spend the first my time bank of 5 seconds when I play on Mahjong Soul or on Tenho to look at the hand and say, what can I do with this? What Yaku can I make out of this?
Yeah,
What
and the
different
only thing
Yakus
I
can I
see
make out of
here
this?
is Tanyao or Yakuhai. I see nothing but like trash.
So I see 3 pairs. I see disconnected. I see somewhat disconnected tiles. Um, I'm either looking for just a straight Riichi hand. If I draw the right tiles, I go for 7 pairs, or I get a Yakuhai. So those are the things that are working in my head. So if I'm going to either go for 7 pairs, go for a straight Riichi, or go for Yakuhai, what tiles can I discard that don't fit any of those?
Why is Tanyao
Right?
off the table for you? Just because there's three
Uh,
honors
no, no,
and the
no,
one?
no. It's 7 pairs, Chi just a straight Riichi, just Riichi by itself, or Yakuhai.
Yeah, I said why is Tanyao off the table for you?
Tanyao is roughly off the table right now because the 7-8. I can't guarantee that I'm going to draw the 6. If I draw the 9, Tanya's off the table.
Ah, okay.
So if I draw
There you
more
go. That's
tiles,
the
that might
succinct
be a
answer I was looking
consideration.
for.
But I'm not going to call for it, right? And this is where you have to think about things else. You have to think about what is your hand consisted of, right? So you have the pair 4-so and you have the pair 5 pins, right? Those are more central tiles. The chances of you being able to pawn those are probably going to be less because everybody else is going to hold on to their tiles because they're more central. That 2-pin pair, chances are you're probably going to actually be able to pawn that because it's closer to the edge. So if you're going to call and you have a lot of pairs that are closer to the center, you may not want to open because you might find it hard to get all the pairs to get all the calls you need. But if they're closer to the edges and maybe you have 1 pair that's in the middle, then you might actually consider calling more because it's going to be easier for you to get those edge tiles. So what? Now I have. Oh, okay. Wait, no, you would have discarded the 1. I don't think we had the pair of 1 mons to begin with.
No, we didn't.
So now you have 1, 2, 3, 4 pairs. So now I have 4 pairs, and that becomes more of a possibility.
Gives us a what possibility?
7 pairs. Chi-toy.
Oh. Yeah, I only chase it when I have 5 or better.
Yeah, for me, it's at 4 pairs. I have to consider it. And I even might consider it right off the get-go if I have like 3 pairs and the rest of it's trash. Because if the rest of it's trash, then I'm just as likely to draw a pair of any of the other tiles than I am to draw a tile that might help me finish a meld.
So here I've given up on getting Yakuhai, right? I don't think it's going to happen. I go ahead and take this with the because I'm like, well, I'm basically at Tanya at this point, right? I got no honors.
Yeah, but
I got everything between, I got no 9s really. So I was like, I can just go for Tanya. Again, I tend to favor pairs over two-sided weights because I can pull them from anywhere versus just from the guy in front of me.
So you didn't fail here, but you realized here at that point after you pawned the 8 mon that you had no safe tiles. The 8 actually became a safe tile for you to discard.
Yeah, and right away
After
this
you're
game
just
starts with someone just getting a massive hit on everybody, getting that. Well, not massive. 7,800 is okay.
it's a dealer bonus.
Yeah.
So at that point, with 2 Riichis, you should basically say I'm out, unless there's a bona fide reason that you have to win this hand.
Yeah, I'm very hard to discourage from trying to win. Especially when I'm just playing computer opponents for no money, right? If I'm playing in a cash game, I'm way more likely to fold out and safe discard, for sure. So that's influencing my play here, right? Because the impetus is first place or nothing, right? So I want to win.
But the thing is that going for first place, and I am going to use an anime reference, I'm sorry, but in the series Ace of the Diamond or Dia no Ace, there is a time where the 2 main protagonists are trying to compete for the ace position. And it looks like the person that was both ace before is losing his job. And he's getting desperate. And they're facing a national level team. And he gets one of the rare base hits out of his team that's out there. And it's a double. It's a simple double. But he decides to run to third, and he's out by a mile because the team plays good defense. The coach immediately removes him from the game. And he tells him that you do not mistake, what is it? Oh, God, there's two words start with the A. You can't mistake something for arrogance. And the whole idea is that, like, just because you show that you're aggressive doesn't mean that's the smart move to do. And I wish I remembered the exact quote. It was in my. I had it like a day or two ago because I was talking about something else.
Yep. So far here, I don't see any like massive fails on the discard track where I'm like, oh, that was a tragic discard. I didn't believe in the Yaku High from the Dragons, and I immediately get exposed because it does come.
That's fine.
I got an inside weight draw here, and I keep it, which I know you hate. I shouldn't have done that probably. So this would have given me Ipeko, but Ipeko doesn't work open, so this is nothing for me now. Right?
Right, and wait, there's a Riichi out there already.
Yeah, that too.
You're discarding not safe tiles. Like,
I mean, it's 9 dragon, 9 win. The 6 is unsafe, but everything else there is like actually fairly safe.
What was that, turn 4? So yeah, the 2 that I would fault you for are probably the 2 mon and the 6 pin.
Yeah.
I probably would have started by discarding the West. I would cringe and maybe discard the East, but I would probably discard the 2 Souths first. The reason why I don't want to discard the East necessarily is because if for some reason the dealer's waiting on it, that's 2 Han you just gave them because it's East round and their dealer.
I gritted my teeth on that discard, but I was like, I want to.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm still trying to win here. I'm not playing defense at all.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I don't. If you pay in, it's like that's what happens. But like, I'm not sure there's much else to see then.
Yep. So he sumos it anyway. And again, another big bonus. Yep, I'm paying in. It's not great. All right, so here's the next hand. So taking a look at this, the 1, 1, 2, 3, the 1, 2, 3, and the 1. I feel like Sanshoku is a long shot, but like it's there. I've got the east wind that could be a Yaku high, so the north here is like the trash.
Okay,
Yeah,
do you
I'm
want to know
tied
what
for
I'm thinking
second
here?
place with the other failures. It's true, Viltrist. I'm very excited about that.
So here's what you've got. You've got a chance at Epeco. You have the inside 2 that you're waiting for. You're right. You have the possibility of a Sanshoku because you already have 2 completed melds of that already. You just need 1, 2, 3 pin. And all your tiles, and I know you don't know this hand, but you have a chance at either Chanta or Junchan. Chanta is all outside, and this hand is perfect for that because you could have you could have the 1, 2, 3 of Manzu, the 1, 2, 3 of Sozu, the 7, 8, 9 of Sozu. If you get your Sanshoku, it's 1, 2, 3 of Pinzu, and then a pair of terminals. And you almost have the ingredients for all of this right here. Like you do not have anything from 4 to 6.
Yep. So let's see what I do. I feel like the first round is obvious. The North goes, right? So let's see how this develops. So then I get the South, and I'm like, ugh, that doesn't help me at all. Then I get a Red Dragon, and I'm like, ugh, come on, man, something helpful. And I'm like, okay, there's the 2. Hell yeah, Sanshoku is here. Like we're in here, fam, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he reaches after I refuse. I was like, I don't really need the 6, but you know,
If you want to avoid the epots, you discard the East first.
And it's already
again,
over. See, like I get a cool hand like that, and I just immediately lose. It doesn't even. And then, like, look at what I'm forced to pay. Look at this. Look at this motherfucker. Like, I'm like, come on, man. On turn 3, you got 12,000 points already. Like, come on, dude. I hardly had any time to play. We didn't even get to the first line of discard. 4 discards in, this game's over.
Well, here's the thing, right? 4 out of those 6 3 out of those 6 Han is luck, because Ipatsu and Uradora are luck. So half of that hand value was just because the computer got quote unquote lucky. Otherwise, it would have just been Riichi, Sumo, Pinfu for 3 Han. It still would have been 2,000 points from everybody. No, it still would have been 2,000, 1,000. But you'd only have to pay 1,000.
And what's insane is I haven't even had a chance to deal yet. Like, this much action has went down, and it hasn't even been my turn. Like, this is such a ferocious game.
No, if you want ferocious, somebody posted in our Discord channel a Tenho game where it went to East 1, 10 dealer repeats. 10.
Can you just walk away after that? Can you just be like, I gotta give. Like, we're done. You won. Congrats.
I mean, if it was, depending upon what level it was, you could have had some no-name person just DC.
You know, how does Mahjong handle rage quitters? Because it's a big problem in fighting games. Like, people rage quit those very often. High propensity.
So, there isn't much you can do. There isn't much the online clients can do. If it was a tournament, that'd be a different issue, right?
I mean, I'm saying though, like, does it end the game? Do you keep playing? Like, what happens?
The person just draws and discards the tile they drew. It's just Sumogiri all the way through. And that technically benefits the down downwind from them. Because they may get tiles they would have never gotten
unvetted
otherwise.
Discards, for sure.
Huh?
You're getting, like, nice unvetted discards.
Yep.
So what if 2 people drop? Does it end the game? Or does is it whoever stays in, like, it keeps going?
Yep.
So you could have 3 people drop and one person just stay in there and complete the game to get credit for it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that 10 turn thing That's definitely what would have happened online. The three people would have dropped and just let that guy play by himself. So again, here's another like fifth discard already won. And
Now,
again, look at the size of the hand already. Like, ugh.
so again, this is why when I always tell myself it's like a late first row Riichi, like on turn 5. It's like I said, in turn 6, you almost expect somebody to be either Tenpai or close to it. So I'm not surprised anymore by a turn 5 Riichi. Unless I see it a lot. Like if I see like a turn 5 and then a turn 3 and then a turn 4 or something like that, and then another turn 3, I probably would start being like, and not happy. But, if I see a turn 5 Riichi and a turn 7 Riichi and a turn 6 Riichi, I'm just kind of like, well, somebody got their Tenpai on that around the time they're supposed to. So, you know what? Okay, fine.
I'm not sure what I'm doing here. I'm probably checking a message or something. So, taking a look at this hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the North is the obvious discard for the first round. But
Except,
I've got an unconnected 2/6, right?
uh-huh.
No good there. 2, 3, 5, 5, 8. Okay. The pair of fives and the 2, 3, sure. 1, 3, 6, 7, 8. So the 6, 7, 8 is
No.
done. There's an inside weight on the 2. It's not the worst.
You have 6, 7, 7, 8.
Oh, yeah, and I just draw the extra 7. That's right. Yeah, North is Dora, but without the ability to call it, I'm not like super up on that it's going to show up.
So in this particular case, your 5 blocks, you can see the 2, 3, the 5, 5, and those are the Sozu. That's 2. You have 2 more in the 6, 7, 7, 8 because you can split that up. So now you just have to find one more. That could either come from the 2, the 6, the 1, 3, or the North. The North is more valuable because it's Dora. At this point, the 2-mon should be what you discard because even if you draw the 1, for instance, then you're only waiting on the 3.
Yep, and then I immediately draw another 2-mon, and I'm just like, man, come on.
That's okay. I mean, when I go for 7 pairs all the time, I'll raise my hands because I made the wrong discard, and I suddenly do this pair. It happens.
So now I've got an inside weight on the 7, and I'm trying to decide what I do here. I feel like I dropped the 8 so.
You should drop the 8 so.
And I get the 7.
Okay.
The unfathomable happens. So then I'm like, well, geez, what do I get rid of here?
So now you have your 5 blocks. You have your 6, 7, 8 mon. You have your 2, 3 so. You have your pair of 5s. And you have your 6, 7 pin, 7, 8 pin. Everything else is extraneous. You don't need any of it.
Yeah, so I divest from the door at that point. I was like, it's not gonna come, right?
I really hope you discard the 3 and the 1.
Because now I've got Ipeco drawn again, right?
Yeah.
I keep getting one away from Ipeco all night. And I'm constantly haunted by it.
I hope you discard the 1.
I assuredly do. And no one has reached yet. I wanted that tile, right? I was so sad because I couldn't roam off this, right? I was like, oh.
Yeah, but you're not Tenpai.
I was like, if I had just gotten this guy just discarded this a turn or 2 later, I could have gotten a Tenpai, and then this would be my win, and I would be very excited. I was like, instead, I can't take it. I have to just watch it go by.
No, you could take it. You take it, discard the 2 so, and you're waiting for 3, 5. So
well, then I'm just going for Tanya, right?
Yeah.
Like I give up the
You're also a
Ipeco.
dealer.
Yeah, again, I think I got blinded by the Ipeco. So I got the 6, and I'm like, can I do anything with this?
You can guarantee Tanya if you discard the 2. Because now you don't have to worry about the 1-so anymore. But if I were to do that, I'd discard the 5-so first, because it's a middle tile, and you are in the second row already. It doesn't show that because it's not showing it right, but because it should be rows of 6. So, but you are deep into the second row, and you should have discarded the 5-so. And I mean, you're still tempi. You reach on the 3-so, waiting for 5-8
Yep.
pin.
So then I get another Ipeco bait, right? 3, 3, 4, 5, 5. Look.
But you just discard the 3-so on Riichi.
And I do it. I was like, let's go. Let's try to keep my dealership. So immediately someone else does. Then immediately someone else reaches, and I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. Come on. And I get it.
That should be an expensive hand. Your dealer, too. Riichi Chanyao, Pinfu, Ipeco, that's 4. Plus Dora, that's 5. That's 12,000.
So this is the big hand of the night for me. But the problem is it comes when I'm already in like cripplingly behind first place. Right?
But you're only now 9,000 points away. That's nothing. As dealer.
Yeah, I'm just saying I wish this had happened when everyone was even. So I was getting a big lead on somebody instead of just like trying to crawl back, right?
Yeah, if you continue thinking about that, it's going to be hard for you to progress.
And I was also sad that it was the hit off the wrong person, right? I didn't really want to pull Omigawa down. Like I wish it had been Yoshiro that dealt into me, but you know.
I mean, you don't control that.
I know, right? I'm definitely like what ifing here. But you know, this is by far the best thing that happens to me tonight is this hand. Because everyone reached into it too, so I even got like a bunch of bonus points just from that, which is also funny. And then I'm immediately given this hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
So taking a look at this.
So using the 5-block theory, what do you got?
Well, so I've got the 3-4, right? The 7-8.
Yep.
The 5, 6, 7, and I guess the 8-9 is its own block, or
way,
the 7, 8, 9, and then the 5,
6.
6 is the 2-sided.
Yeah. What's your 5th block?
And then a pair of 1s.
Uh-huh. So that just tells you everything you need to know about your hand. Everything else is extraneous. The 1-mon is extraneous. The 1-so is extraneous. The 5-pin is extraneous. You're done.
Yep. Let's see if I can turn this into a win. This good start. Let's see if I can just run with this. Or do I get like in my own head about something? I'm like looking at past me and just being like, come on, man. You still have a chance here. You're only backed by 9,000. We can do this, right? If we can, you know, we'll get one other bite at the dealership too, right?
If you were to direct hit first place with a 3-han hand, that's enough for you to take first place. 3-han, that's it. 9,000 points isn't a lot when you think about it because.
So I think I get rid of the 1-mon or the 5-pin first. I think that's what I do.
1-mon, 1-so, 5-pin, either one.
Yep. So I pick that. I don't want to eat that. Then I pair up the 5, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'll just get rid of the 1. Right?
Yep.
I'm assuming that's what I do here.
Now the 2 1-pins are safer to discard than the pair of 5s. So now your discards are 1-so and the pair of 1-pins.
Then I try to decide if I want to open up here, right?
No. Because you'll lose everything with that if you call.
Yep. So I think I say no. Let's see. Oh, I do. Okay, so I desperately
Well, you're
start
toast.
chasing Tanyao.
You're toast. Oh, that's a saving trial. Now you can discard the 9 so. But you still have problems. Because that 9 mana is going to be a pain in your side if you ever draw it. But you slow down your hand considerably. Then there's no reason to call that.
Yeah, I'm double inside weighted there now.
Actually, in real Mahjong, you would have not been able to discard the 8 after you called the 8. It's not allowed generally.
Oh, really?
Yep.
So I got the 2, 3, the 5, 6, 7, 8, the 3, 4.
You have no pair.
Yep, I got no pair here.
I mean, you're basically done here.
Yep. Mega bungled in dealership, no less, right? So then I get the pair, right? I'm like, okay, cool.
Okay, so pause it quickly. Is there a way to salvage the hand? And if so, what is it? Before you discard the 5 so.
I mean,
assuming you don't pay in, assuming that you're not going to pay, assuming that you're not going to pay in with this, what could you discard to salvage this hand?
I mean, to me, it looks like I get out of the 5, 6, right? And then just wait on the 2-sided weights.
Nope. You get rid of the 7, 8.
Oh, because I don't want the 9. Yeah.
You don't want the 9.
Yeah, that's the mistake. I should have discarded the 8, 7 instead of the 5, 6. Yep.
No, that doesn't preclude the fact that you could easily pay in because it's dangerous. But all else being equal,
so I get the 5 again, and then I'm like, oh no, I can't have this now. And I think I forced myself to get rid of it.
It's fine because you'll be waiting for the 4, 7.
I think that I'm furry 10. But I get beaten to the punch because I slowed my hand down, right?
Yep.
So
there's nothing else to see here. Just go ahead to the next hand.
Yep.
The call of the 5 was what screwed you, and you know it. So the rest of the hand is not bothering to watch.
Then I get dealt this clunker. And I get the pair of Norse, and I'm like, hey, okay.
Yep.
Someone's definitely going to discard the North if they draw it, because it's pretty much not useful for them. So I was like,
okay, pause it again. What are your 5 blocks here? Or how many blocks do you have?
Well, so for me, it's the 3, 3, 4, the 6,
Yes.
7,
Yes.
the 8, 9,
Yes.
the pair of 1s,
Yes.
the 4, 5,
Yes.
and the pair of Norse.
Yes. Those are 6 blocks. The 7 is immediately extraneous. What is the weakest block out of those 6?
The 8, 9.
It's either the 8, 9 or the pair of 1 pins. Probably the 8, 9 because you need a pair still. The 8 is the Dora, sure, but it's East 4. You're in second. It's not imperative that you need to build a big hand. Getting a small hand is basically almost the same as denying somebody a big hand, right?
I feel like I make the wrong call here and get rid of the wrong thing.
Nope. 7 is fine.
All right, cool.
The 4 is not a bad discard. It's just a matter of when you get a chance to improve your hand, what do you do?
So here is whether or not I think I'm deciding to bet on the Yakuza.
That's the right call.
Then I get rid of the wrong tile here, I'm pretty sure. We'll see. I'm prepared for you to groan. Yep.
Yep. Again, you're locking in pairs.
I like pairs a lot for some reason. I'm really into them. Me and pairs.
And yet you don't get 7 pairs as much as I do.
I don't.
I am like the god of 7 pairs.
So now I decide to get out of the 7-8, right?
I can turn a hand that has 1 pairs into 7 pairs, and you wouldn't believe it.
I'm just waiting for something better to show up so I can get rid of the 7.
Well, no, you don't want to get rid of the 8 now. The 8's the Dora. Well, okay, the 8 is relatively safe because the 5 was discarded, but it's not guaranteed because of Suji. The 8-9 is probably safe to discard. Well, yeah, I think it's still okay. The 3, maybe not.
So, you know, I'm effectively in my mind just on reach here and just auto discarding. Like waiting for something to come improve my hand. So then I get the 7-8, right? And I hesitate for a second. And I was like, and then, yeah, the wall runs dry, so.
And again, it's part, I mean, you wouldn't have gotten the 2 or the 5 Mon anyways to call because the Monzu were with the other 2 people. But yeah, by locking in that pair, it just made it hard for you.
Yeah, I was definitely disappointed that the North didn't show, right? I was like, where the hell is one of the other 2 Norths?
All right, pause it here.
Okay.
Tell me everything that you can see out of this, and especially the 5 blocks, and then everything you can see out of this, because this is a good example of a hand that has many options and being flexible and trying to think everything through.
So, taking a look at this hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm looking at the 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9 run.
Good.
And I'm thinking, geez, I'm 2 away from the straight, right? I'm like, that's pretty cool. But I've already got I got that 8, 9 with like the errant 6 sitting out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've got the 8, 9 on the other end, and I've got the 9 here. I was like, maybe I'm gonna get 7, 8, 9 with all 3 suits, and I'm gonna go Sanshoku, right?
Now, admittedly, a 7-8, a Sanshoku on the edge is harder, especially when you're having to get 2 of the 7s. But yes, good. You saw that. Keep going.
Yep. So I'm probably dreaming about the Sanshoku, knowing me. And maybe faintly considering the straight.
You shouldn't. What? You know why?
Too many duplicates?
No, not necessarily. Where's your pair?
Well, yeah, I know right now I've only got that pair of 7s, but
no, you have the pair of
3s, right? I've got both my pairs in there, but I kind of like believe that I'll at least be able to pair up one other tile.
I mean, it's possible. That's the longer shot out of all of them, because you need the 1, the 2, and the 4.
Right.
And you're not guaranteed to get a 2-sided weight. In fact, the only way you get a 2-sided weight is if you draw the 1 and the 2 pin. Otherwise, you're going to have a terrible weight for that straight.
I imagine I'm going to chase the Sanshoku, knowing me.
Which is fine. And here's a case in which I would call for it if I got it. If I got the tile. If I got the 7 Mon or the 7 So, I'd call that. Because that's a Penchan weight. That is an edge. That is a tile waiting for something that's on the edge like that. That's hard. So if you can get it off of somebody, I mean, it lowers your hand value by 1 Han, but you're getting one of the tiles you need. So you either drop the Chun or the 6 So.
Yep.
But yes, your 5 blocks are the 8-9 Mon, the 8-9 So, your pair of threes, your 5-6-7, your 7-8-9. And by breaking it into those blocks, you can see that you have, oh, I have a Sanshoku possibility. I'd call that. Discard 6-0.
Let's see if I do it. I'm sure I'm thinking about it. And I do. And I assume I drop the 6 here. And
we're done.
I get a super fast win.
Now, it's only 1,000 points. You could have argued that you could have tried to wait to draw the 7 and then Riichi'd waiting for the other 7. There is an argument to be made. You didn't have to necessarily call that. But at the same time, it's like, I'll just deny you your dealership, right?
Yeah. Although the problem is like, I actually denied someone behind me the dealership and gave it to someone ahead of me, right? So I don't know if that was technically the best metagame play, but whatever.
No, it's fine. Accelerating the game is fine. Especially if you're winning points along the way, because that means everybody else isn't. So what are you seeing here?
I mean, the 1-2-2 is, completable with a 2 or a 3.
Mm-hmm.
The 7 on its own is nothing.
Right.
4, 5, 5. Again, that's completable a couple ways. I don't think the 7's included in that though, right? Or because you get 5, 6, 7.
You can consider this a half block because you can say 4, 5, and 5, 7.
Okay.
Right.
And then
the 7 is kind of like a half block.
I got the 3 and the 4 together, so that's good. The South is, a possible Yakuza draw if I can pair it up, and so is the West. And I got a second 4. I didn't see that. So yeah, the 3, 4, 4 is a block as well.
Yep.
As far as Yaku here, nothing. Like Yakuza, maybe Tanyao if I disinvest.
There's possibilities for. More than likely, you're probably just going to be able just to declare Riichi. You could have Tanyao. You could have Yakuza. You could still have Pinfu. It's a possibility.
Yeah, I always forget about.
If you're going to go for Pinfu, you probably have to discard the South or the West.
Like, I never think about Reach only as a Yaku ever. I always forget that that's a thing that exists. And I don't think there's a reason to open here because I'm not going to get Yaku high unless I just chase Tanyao.
Plus, you turn your 2 blocks into 1 because now the 4-7's is split, right?
Yeah, I think the goal here is like I think I'm thinking I want to chase Tanyao and just get Yoshimura's dealership over.
This is awful. You just turned 1.5 blocks into 1, and now you've got 2 single tiles. Now the 1s have to go. You can't use them anymore.
Yeah.
And now that 1, 3, 4, 4, that's 1 block. You've turned another 2 blocks into 1. Like, this has slowed your hand down considerably. Because see, you had to discard the 4-7, and now you can't use the 8 because you called. And now the 7-8's not even 100% useful because if you get the 9, you're screwed. I mean, I don't know if there's much else we need to see here.
You can sense the disappointment.
I mean, realistically, like, you can try to salvage the hand, but like, if you lose this hand to somebody, if somebody wins this hand before you do, I mean, it's expected at this point.
Yep, there's the Reach by Yoshira right away. So I'm like, the twos are my only pair. If I call that, I don't have a pair anymore, right?
Now you have a half tenpai because you can't win on the 9. You can only win on the 6.
Yeah.
What did he con? I don't see it there. Oh wait, I can't tell.
Yeah, I think it's behind me. He conned my discard. And then I deal in to him.
Which happened to be yeah.
So it's not a huge hit, right?
No, but it was preventable.
It was.
All right, what about here?
I mean the 5/6.
Yep.
There's nothing from the so's. The 3/4s obviously, and the 2/8s, and the East has no value here for me. And the Haku is a maybe a desperate Yaku high draw, but yeah, it's not a good hand. It's a bad hand.
So this is, I mean, it's still bad, but you're slightly better off than you think. You have, I don't know how many blocks you want to consider this. Maybe I guess you consider it 2 blocks. Your 2 blocks are the 2/4/4/4, and then your 6/6. But you could almost consider the 2/4/4/4/6/6 as like one huge mega block that can suddenly become actual blocks that you can use. Why? Because that 2 is not hanging by itself if you draw a 3. Now you have 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, right? If you draw a 5, then you have you can have like a 4, 5, you have a 4, 5, 6, and a pair of 4s and a 2. So it's still a bit unwieldy, but the 2/4/4/4/6/6 is actually not bad.
It's not bad, but I mean, I'm just playing for a minor win here at this point, right?
Right.
Like there's no obvious like Yaku that jump out at me like, oh, you're real close to this.
You're either Yakuhai, Tanya, or Riichi. Yakuhai is probably the least option.
Yep. So I, predict I'm gonna start dumping 9s and just chasing Tanya, but we'll see. Yeah, getting rid of the East, it's followed by other Easts. I'm like, okay, I feel good about that.
The 1 pin you should keep.
I think I get rid of the 1 or the 9. Let's see what I do.
Because if you kept the 1, then now the 3 means that you have a 1, 2, 3, and the 3/4 has become its own meld. And it could even change again, because if you draw a 5, then you discard a 6, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, and then 5, and then a 4, 5, 6. So now you have 3 melds that came out of that.
I completely committed to the Tanya like super hard. Right?
Oh yeah, I mean,
I see what I did. I immediately just started discarding. I didn't pay any attention to how close anything was, and I was just like, okay, this is where I go, right? I don't know why I don't get rid of the 9. Like, dude, get rid of the 9. The 9 is like actively preventing you. You just get rid of the 9, dude. There you go. Like, I'm just blind at this point. I'm gonna chalk it up to altered state. So I get the 5, 6, 7, and I'm like, hey, like everything's coming up me. Like, all right, let's do this. So at this point,
no, Tuso.
Yeah, I don't see what you saw there, right? Like it doesn't occur to me, right? I'm much more excited about the 5, right?
You're actually Tenpai here.
Yep. I don't think I can't reach, right, because I'm open.
Yep.
So now I'm just hoping to win, basically.
You're waiting for a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, or a 7.
Yep. And I get a 5 and a sumo. Look at, delicious. Kabow. Right? So now I'm like, hey, look, guys, like, I'm hanging in here in second place, right? Like, I'm getting wins. I'm feeling good about myself. The game's advancing.
You're
Yoshira is
now a
just a
dealer.
scant 8,000 points away, right?
All right, pause it here. What do you got?
I mean, I don't think we need to analyze this one. I think this one's kind of an obvious hand.
Okay, good.
Um, I think I'm going to check a Yaku there. I think maybe I flipped over to the Yaku screen to try
So
and see what I've got.
So then just go start guessing your discards.
I mean, the North is the obvious one, right?
Okay.
I don't think I keep this 9. Well, I do. Okay, I decide to keep it. I abandon.
That's fine. The Hatsu discard is okay.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right. I agonize here a little bit on what to get rid of and I let go of the 9 because I'm like, I don't imagine I'm going to break up the 7s. Then I start chasing Tanya out again.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I'm just like, open Tanya out. Let's go. Let's keep dealership. Let's take a small win. Right? I was like, we're getting pretty close.
Now the two mon's useless to you now. The thing is, calling is good, but if your hand is relatively close as it is, I hope you'd call this. If your hand's
so you would call this and then get rid of one of the 7s for the pair?
No.
Get rid of the 6?
You discard the 3 mon, because now you're waiting for 5, 6, or 7.
And I'm beat to the punch anyway, right?
Yeah, calling you may think accelerates your hand, but it also locks things in, much like locking your pair in, and you void yourself of options.
All right, so we're pulling into yet another hand, another like smattering of
and it's all last.
And yeah, like this is last. I was like, ugh. I was like, I'm probably not gonna be able to catch Yoshira here unless I hit something crazy good, and I don't immediately start with something that I recognize to be crazy good.
Okay. So we'll just keep on talking as the hand's moving, but a 3-han hand against your opponent.
Well, I think I want to skip here a little bit ahead because there's like a whole nother round on this video, right?
Okay.
And this is all last, and it doesn't go my way. I don't pull ahead and win. So I wind up like just a very minor hand goes by. Yoshira gets pulled down a little bit, and I wind up in second place. Right? It's an okay finish.
Yeah.
It looked like I won 40,000 yen there, and I paid 50,000 to play, so I still came out negative 10,000. I think. I'm not sure though how that works. I don't know if points equal yen here exactly because I pay 50,000, but I only get 25,000 points. So maybe that 40,000 points turned into 80,000 yen. So maybe I won 30,000.
Yeah, I don't know quite how your scoring system works in Yakuza.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so this is in a mahjong parlor in Yakuza, right? And to play at this table to get your 25,000 point sticks, the guys tell you need to give them 50,000 yen to play.
Right.
So you can assume then that the sticks are worth 2, right? So if
Not
I walked out with
necessarily,
47,000, right, then I had 94,000 yen. Maybe I got paid out, so maybe I won 47,000 yen.
Yeah, I'm not sure because like part of that could also be because in case you go negative, I don't know if because going negative end the game.
Stay tuned.
So you called here. I hope you discard the 9-pin.
I don't, and it's sumoed immediately afterwards. I can't even start to get going, right? Like I
Yeah,
had
but
the,
it's not. It's a nothing hand.
yeah.
So
He goes
like,
Yaku
you
high.
shouldn't
I was
be
going
worried about
Yaku
that.
high too, so I mean I can't be mad at it, right? But it was super fast. Here is yet another hand. It's indicative of the kind of stuff I've been getting all night, right? Lots of honor tiles, and like no strong wind blowing towards anything.
Hey, that last game was much better for you in terms of starting hands.
Yes, it was. Which is why I wound up in second that last game.
Yeah, but you had chances to be in first.
I'm skipping ahead a little because that took forever. So I get like a third west, and I'm like, does this even help me at all?
Now you're just looking at declaring Riichi.
So then I get this, and I'm like, hey, too bad one's been discarded already.
Doesn't
Obviously,
matter.
I need to dump the Haku.
And if you had kept the west, that would have been just another meld that you would have had in your hand. The 1-pin is useless. Oh.
Yeah, I think I'm brain broke after the way a couple of the last things went, and I think the level of play here is it goes down, and then I wind up paying in
That one
on a one.
mon was not safe.
I was like, who waits on a one? What kind of psychopath waits on one mon?
It's
Who
not a
is this
one, it's a
monster?
1/4.
What?
His weight is a 1/4.
Well, okay. But still, I was like, who waits on the one? I thought like
Easy,
typically
because people won't want a 1-mon. That's the reason why. When I say middle tiles are harder to call for your opponent, it's the same thing about middle tiles are hard to roam off of, because usually people are holding them. Usually people don't hold edge tiles. So if people don't hold edge tiles, what do you want to wait for? Edge tiles. So if you have a 1/4 weight or a 6/9 weight, that is perfect. Generally.
So I don't like the 169 that I've got going on over there.
That 5 is a good draw.
Do I get rid of the red dragon or not? I know I'm debating
Either that
it,
or
or
the
I'm just
9
continuing to
or 9
divest
mon.
from these guys.
Okay, good.
Then I see 2 more red dragons hit, and I lose faith in them. I'm like, all right,
Okay,
you
that's
can
fine.
go.
Okay, that's fine.
And I'm like, well, I don't think I can eat this because opening my hand does nothing. It would commit me to a Tanya run. Do I continue to chase senseless Tanya? Let's see. Let's see what he does. Past
You're
me.
contemplating. I see you're past you contemplating this. Good. Don't discard that 3. Discard the 7 so. Or the 8-pin.
Yeah, the English translation of chi. So I'm so used to Mandarin. Like for me, these are all like chi, peng. Trying to think of other things that come up. Oh, gan instead of kan. Like these are the terms I'm used to. And like sure is such a common word in Mandarin. You say it every day. So I think I'm brain locking a little bit here. Not super sure what's the obvious discard. What's the obvious discard here?
7 so 8-pin. Because that 4 gives you a 3/4 and a 4/5/6. Now you're waiting for either a 2-5 pin or a 6-7-9 so.
So
And now you're tempai, but now you're just waiting for the 7.
So what
If you had
happened?
discard, huh?
So what happened here is that I forgot you can reach just to win, right?
Yeah. See, you would if you had kept the 4 and discarded the 8, you would be waiting for a 2-5 pin, and that 2 pin that's discarded over there by the person behind you would have been an Ipatsu.
Oh, it looks like I've remembered that reach exists. So I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
but you're only waiting on the 7 now.
Yep. Yeah, I actually know Drew 'em all, and I'd never heard Ting Pai before though. So thanks for that, Viltris. Drew 'em all is sumo. So Ting Pai is Tenpai. Okay, it's my first time hearing that one.
So yeah, this is not as good, and this will allow everybody to catch up. I mean, you won, but you devoided yourself of Pinfu, so you could have had Riichi, Pinfu, Dora for 3. So you basically halved your score by discarding the 4 and keeping the 8 pin. You could have had 5,200. Actually, no. 332
So
is 39.
I have
so
a question for you.
You could have had another 1,300 points.
Sixer. I have a question for you.
Sure.
Why is it Tempai instead of Tenpai? Why is it an M there?
I call it with an N. Tenpai. That's how it's supposed to be.
Oh, so the M is just some like bizarre romanization?
Yes.
Oh. Okay, there we go. Tenpai is not real. Got it.
Tenpai. Tenpai.
Yeah, I see it written as Tenpai everywhere though.
Don't. Yeah, no. Don't follow. No.
And what about
even
tempura?
A single M in the Japanese.
I know there's not, right? Like I'm fully cognizant that there's not, but tempura and tempai are both in the West always pronounced with an M. I don't know why.
It's probably because of the same romanization issues that you have with Chinese.
Well, I mean, my enemy is the Wade Guile system or Wade Guillet system from France. That's what my plague is. So yeah,
I mean, because I said, it's like with the Japanese with Ono, where it should be OONO, but because they wanted people to pronounce it to say it right, they go OHNO.
Well, that's different, right? That's inserting a letter for pronunciation's sake, but this is changing an N to an M for no reason I'm sure of.
No. This is in reality. If it's Ono, OONO, you are changing the O to an H.
Yeah, but I'm saying like we wouldn't. They were trying to get people to pronounce it correctly, right? There was a reason for them to do that. I don't know why the M is coming from.
My guess is the M is the same place where like
in Japanese, when you say an N in front of a P, like or a B, it's pronounced with an M.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where it came from.
I wonder if is that a regional dialect, Viltris? Or are you trying to say that's standard Japanese?
Please discard the East or the 9. 9 Mon.
All right, I'm asking the internet. Why does tempura have an M and Japanese is pronounced with an N? The Japanese N is not equivalent to N, but rather a nasal sound. It's pronounced differently depending on what kind of sound comes next. When N is followed by a labial consonant, it assimilates to an M. That is the answer. So it is correctly pronounced tempura, not tenpura. And tempai, not tenpai. So there you go. It's in the dictionary for the enkana. And again, senpai is probably the most obvious example, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, I never really thought about it until tomorrow. I've always pronounced it with the M, but I never really thought about why I'm doing that. Um, yeah, it's never occurred to me. So, yay, it was fun. It was a fun thing we all discussed. We all learned about Japanese while I suck it up at Mahjong super hard on stream. Like, I know you guys can't see like the past video version of me, but I can tell that I'm fading at this point, right? Like I'm definitely I don't look as sharp and alert as when I started the stream for sure, for sure. That's definitely a thing that's happening. So all right, that hand goes by me. Let's skip forward a little bit. Gonna get deeper in the stream. So I took down a win, right? The hands have stratified a bit. I'm not super far behind Yoshiura. We're in South One, right? This is a chance to win, right? If we make the right calls here, we can get first place. So what do you throw away here? 12-6er. Is it the
Well,
7? Is the 7 trash?
well, you trashed the 8, so the 7 is trash. But realistically, looking at this hand, you have the pair of Wests and the pair of Norths, and you can't call them technically because they're not either your wind or your seat. It's your dealership, so it's gonna suck to do this. So either you call for Toy Toy, which is all sets, or you go for a Riichi, or you go for 7 pairs.
So here's where I'm forced to look up Yaku again.
Although if you were gonna keep the Riichi option, you would have kept the 8 mon and discarded the Hatsu, and then you would have drawn the 7 mon, and you would have been happy. And you probably would have discarded your extraneous 6 mon, and then once you drew the 3 mon, we'd be 1 away from Tenpai at that point. But
so remembering that
pairs.
Reach is a Yaku is something I definitely didn't do here. Like that just Reach by itself with just trash is a Yaku. I completely forgot about that.
I always tell people when they're learning that Riichi is like your break glass in case of an emergency. As long as you don't call, you always have Riichi if you're Tenpai.
Yeah, and I definitely didn't think about that. Again, I'm staying closed here, right? I know I can't call. I don't have anything callable.
Well, the thing is, since you just carded the 3 mon, I think your only recourse now is either to start trying to call for Toy Toy, or you are going to go for 7 pairs.
Wait, what's Toy Toy?
You're just going to go for a no Yaku Tenpai.
What's Toy Toy?
All sets.
Like all 3 of a kinds?
Yep.
I didn't probably think that you can call that.
That's what you've seen other people get, though.
I probably didn't think about it. Well, we just draw out here. I don't make the right call. So looking at this hand, I'm guessing I chased the straight.
It's not a bad idea. I'd probably discard the tune first before anything else. Because the problem is you still need the 6 and the 7. And if you're stuck with a 7, if you're stuck waiting for the 7, that's going to be a one-sided wait. So I wouldn't depend on it just yet. You could have actually called the 3 if you really wanted to try to play fast. Because if you called the 3 pin, you discard the 9-so and the 1-so.
Wait, what Yaku would I have if I open up by calling the 3? Tanyo?
Tanyo.
Okay.
So you would have called the threes. Now you would have had the threes and the set of twos, and you discard the 1-9, and you would have been.
Yep. I'm going for Tanya now. I've made the adjustment. I just did it one move later.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with this because you don't have a dealership anymore. So if you can just start getting small points here and there, you can close the gap and deny other people the chance to get points.
Yep. I think that's my goal, right? Because I lost my dealership already, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my chance to stage a big comeback is really contingent on Yoshimura getting hit by something and pulling them down.
You can still just get points. I mean, like getting 1,000 points here and there is not bad.
So I'm just sitting here in Tenpai, like, hoping to win. And look at this. This mofo waits on a tune and undoes my whole deal. I couldn't believe it. I was like, really? Really? That's what you were waiting on? You asshole. Look at this. 5,000 damage I take from that.
Yeah, but it's a good weight.
So now I'm disheartened because I just lost second place to that. I'm immediately in fourth because of that tune.
But you're still only 1,800 points away from second.
Ugh. Yeah, I was like, I couldn't believe I lost my second place. Viltrus is asking, is that the hell wait that everyone was talking about, where the computer was waiting on a tune that had already been discarded once? Like, literally, I had the only tile in the game that could have helped that guy win, and he won off me and undid everything.
Well, see, here's the thing, right? When he declared Riichi waiting for the East or the Chun, well, it's a Mia, so it's a she. Either one of those would give that person a Yaku, right? East because she's dealer, Chun because it's Yakuhai. And, like you said, yeah, it's kind of the hell weight, right? If there were no
one had already
Chun,
been discarded,
see the
right?
discard.
Like,
but if
so
there was
it
no
was
other Chuns,
made safe.
Yeah, you might think it's safe. But that's where you just have to start thinking about it and go, I only see one out there. Is this really safe for me to discard?
Oh god, if I start thinking about things that are already discarded as also dangerous, I'll never discard again.
I mean, that's the next level of defenses after just like simple things like Suji.
So I think I'm still hoping for Yakuhai here to materialize. I throw away the Dora. Yakuhai doesn't show up, right? I'm just like, God, man, why? The music is really good at this point.
The North is. You already discarded the North. I don't know why you're keeping the other. And that 5-month's not even useful for you because you already discarded one.
Yeah, like I said, I remember at this point the music I'm listening to is super great, and I'm getting lost in how good it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I could have put a music bed under this stream, but I really wanted people to be able to hear us talk clearly, so I didn't. I think when two people converse, you don't want music.
So there isn't going to be anything. There's not going to be much we're going to see here then.
No, I don't think so. I think I just lose this hand. All right.
You don't lose.
So, well, I mean, I don't win, but the nasty part here is that's the last tile roll. So he gets a Mangan, propelling Yoshiura far away from being caught. Yep. I was like, really? Like, really? Are you kidding
Now
me right
even a,
now?
now
First
even a
I
direct
lose to a
Manga hit
Chun, I
over
lose to a one,
Yoshihiro
and
is not
now
going to
I
be
lose
enough.
to a last tile Roan. Like, come on, man.
Yep, Hote.
Like, like I said, the improbability of some of these events in such a short session was like crazy to me. Because I only played like 4 complete games or something, and like I have all these like very unlikely things happen. I think it has to be something to do with playing against a computer. But man, I was well traumatized at this point. Like I can't believe the things I'm seeing. So this hand, I think I'm looking at the possible Sanshoku.
That's far away, and you've got one,
Well,
two,
because
three.
I've got 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8 here now, right? I've just
Well,
got the 7.
what's your goal right now?
Probably Sanshoku,
No. What's your goal in this game right now?
just to win any points at all.
That's not much of a goal, really.
Not really, because I don't feel like I can catch Yoshira anymore. Like Yoshira
But
getting
if your
that.
goal is if you tell me your goal is to get second, I can understand that. But saying going for any points possible, it will only get you into trouble.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted first, right? I was right there on the cusp of first until that last play where they suddenly surged ahead. Like if anyone else had won there, like right now I'd be playing for first still. But now I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna get like a 12,000 point hand and come back here in South 3.
No, it's not. That's not bad. It's possible. I mean, it's the odds aren't good for sure.
And again, Yoshira Sumo's getting even more points, making sure that there's definitely no chance of catching, right? And I'm just like, man, I had so much hope for the way this was going. And, I was like, oh, there's an actual chance of first here. I was feeling really good. Um, Viltrus is saying that, when you play uh, Mahjong with the Mafia, much like in Akagi, insane things can happen. And that's definitely how it went for me here. So I get the
Why'd you
pair of
discard
East.
the East?
Yeah, I do. Because they're not worth anything to me Yaku wise, and I've got
It
the pair of
doesn't
tunes.
matter. Like, if you start getting sets, now you're talking about like three concealed sets or something like that. You're throwing away, like you're in fact you're going backwards with this hand. And then you discard Dora, right?
Yep.
You're literally draining the value of this hand.
I definitely didn't look at the door indicator at all. I'm 100% sure of that at this point.
Because you'd have the pair of tunes, you'd have the pair of Easts, you'd have the pair of Doras. And unfortunately, because I don't get to see the wall, I don't know what you could have drawn if you had not called the 3. By the way, Yakuhai Toy Toy Dora 3 is 12,000 points. Set of tunes, if you pawn the Easts, and you had 3 Dora, the 3 9s.
I mean, assuming I finished off the Toy Toy successfully, yes.
But you want first?
So then I get another in-hand con, right? And I'm like, okay, what the heck do I do here? I was like, I guess I should call it, because I'm desperate for points here. Let's see.
If
Let's
this
see if
were
I call
all
it. I think
black,
I
I
call
could
it.
see that.
So that guy is like open. Everyone's going for quick hands. Everyone's open at the table, 100%.
Yep. And
Everyone just wants to get a fast hit here.
Well, here's the thing,
And then
right?
I deal in with the one again. The one mon
All
again.
sets. Toy. Chuhan.
Yep. So then I get forced down even harder. So now, like, the dream of first place is not only gone. And I'm like, why north? Why not? Why not? Those could be south. If I had two double souths and immediately got it on the first turn, like I would have been so hyped. But no.
Why are you discarding the north?
Again, because I think the Yaku I'm going for doesn't allow you to have them. I think that's where I'm at mentally.
I mean, you're 1, 2, 3. You would have had 5 pairs. You could at least go for Chitoitsu and try to take second.
I actually don't know what I'm going for here at all. I am not sure. I have no idea what I'm doing. But South 4, right? I'm, barely above last place. I'm so bummed that I got hit on the one mon discard. Again.
Yeah, but I mean, again, if you're not, I didn't look at the last hand because I was already done with it because you basically drained all the value from it. But it's possible the one wasn't even safe, and since you don't know defense, then of course you're gonna pay in.
So then, again, there's a super fast sumo. I never really get anywhere with this hand anyway. And I pay in yet again. And the worst part is it goes to the guy who was in fourth place just enough to push me all the way into last. And we keep going, right?
But that's a good thing.
Viltrus is asking what Higashi was there.
Back.
And I had to look it up too.
What?
What Higashi was. That was his Yaku. He had Higashi.
No. It was south.
No, it said on screen the word Higashi.
Well, it shouldn't. Oh, no, he should because he's dealer. So he got the Yakuhai for south for the round. He got the Yakuhai for east because he's dealer. Actually, it's a she again.
So, I mean, there's no valuable Yaku on display here, right? And then look, immediately discard 4, I roam straight into the dealer again. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I was like, surely he has nothing, right? No, he's got something. He hammers me for another 8,000 points immediately on turn 4.
I'd have to look at the discards, but I don't think you had any. There was nothing. I mean, there's nothing you can do. You have to discard a tile.
Yeah, and like I completely fall to pieces here. I rage quit the game. That is it for me for the night. Like that last game was brain breaking because I started out in first. Then I had a chance. I fell to second pretty early, and I was like, okay, well, there's a chance I can come back and take first. The game got deeper. I was still doing okay, and then in like South 3, destruction began, and by the end of South 4, I'm in distant last place, and the game's not even over yet. Like I was just so disheartened that I had fallen from first to last of the course of the game that I couldn't take any more abuse. That's where I checked out.
I mean, you know what? I mean, outside of just the early reaches, which I mean happens, there is nothing in there that's like, oh my god, this was crazy. Like, a lot of this was just self-inflicted.
Yeah. I mean, I feel you. There's definitely a lot of ignorance of a lot of the intricacies of the game. Because there's, I think one of the biggest things that makes Riichi Mahjong like impossible to learn compared to a lot of other games is that there's just way too many Yaku, and they're very situational sometimes. Um, and that's just makes it a very tough game to get into.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed the stream, Viltrus. I thought I was talking this over with 12Sixer earlier today, and complaining about how badly I had been just savaged by the mahjong in Yakuza. Because historically, I've played mahjong in every single version of Yakuza, and I like overall have quite a winning record. Like I'm used to taking down big hands and winning and being on top. So I went into this stream believing again that I would probably win and win pretty good. And instead it was just like 2 hours and 50 minutes of me getting absolutely wailed on. Like demoralized and broken. Like just when I was already behind and on turn 4 I discarded and immediately dealt into like a 5,000 point hand. I was just so brain broken by that. I couldn't handle it. I was dismayed. I think that's also one of the tough parts of playing mahjong is that you're not allowed to get out, right? Like there's no way in poker, you go all in, it doesn't pay out, you're upset, but you get to leave. Like you just get to leave, right? Mahjong,
No. Well, it's not necessarily an all in. It's more like It's more like when you have like in general in poker, when in TV you see all the action, but in reality, they cut the action where it's just like fold, fold, fold. Person wins the blinds. Somebody bets fold, fold, fold. Person wins the
yeah.
person wins the pot. That's more I think what you're trying to get at is in like you can get out of it. You say, this hand's not good. I'm just done. In mahjong, you can do that, but it's basically actively giving up.
I think you're misunderstanding me. What I'm saying is that, like, in a game like poker, if you get behind, right? So some guy has 20,000 chip lead on you or whatever. You can just say like, well, all right, man, you win. I'm out. Like, peace.
If
and
it's
you
a
just
cash
leave,
game, sure.
right? Like, you just leave, and you don't have to eat it. And mahjong, you're not allowed to go anywhere. You have to sit there after your huge loss and just keep eating it. And if the guy keeps winning, you have to keep giving him money. You don't have a choice. You are locked into your seat and strapped in for the beatdown. That's tough mentally, right? Like that's tough.
I mean, you want to talk tough. When I was playing the Nina High, like one of the first games I played, they didn't allow boxing, so you could go. They don't allow boxing, so you can go below 0. I'll tell you, when I was going into South 4 in one of my early games, I was at negative 32,000.
Man, I was at negative 11,000. That was too much for me. Negative 32,000.
Yep.
Yeesh.
I managed to get to negative 25.
When did you become an optimist? That's so unlike you.
Mahjong has told me if I wanted to survive playing Mahjong, I had to become. It's not that I had to become an optimist. It's that I had to basically say that's one game. I got to put it behind me. I'm not gonna like flip a table. I'm not gonna get down on myself either. It's just gonna be I'm gonna put that in a box. I'm gonna put it away, and I'm gonna go to the next game.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely how it works in fighting games, right? And there's a high crossover with fighting games and mahjong. All of the great fighting game guys, like you see them in like some tournament or whatever, and they take this huge loss, and all they do is they just blink once, and then like that's it. Like there's that blink where they just like wipe it clean. They're just like, oh well, that massive damage I just took, like, okay, that's fine. Next game. I don't have the trained mentality for a complete like ability to reset like what just happened in a previous game and forget about it. It's definitely something you got to build to, right? Like,
well, and here's the thing: it's one thing like being able to put a game in a box and put it away. That's one thing. But if you really want to be successful at Mahjong, you literally have to put the last hand away, put it in a box, and put it away.
Yeah, I mean, I think a fighting game like round and a mahjong hand are similar. Like you need to be able to compartmentalize rapidly because, like,
Yep.
you know, there's still more games in the set, right? You still got to keep playing. So I think in that way, it's kind of the same.
So you can't be like Punk, who might get down on himself and then be like totally ineffective.
Uh, yeah, I mean, like some people, you know, they play from the heart, and some people are you know very calm and collected. Punk, at least in the world of competitive Street Fighter, is definitely that guy that's like very emotional. But the thing is when he does feel himself and he believes in himself, like no one can beat him. Like when he's absolutely sure that he's the best player, no one can beat him. Uh, so the best way to have a chance against Punk is you have to shake his belief in himself. You have to make him think like maybe his reads aren't great or maybe that you can see through his stuff. And if he starts believing that's true, then he's way more likely to implode. But not a lot of people can do that. Um, Viltrus is suggesting, you know, another way to condition yourself is to play something like Dark Souls, where you die a lot. I'm definitely not a rage based player. I think if you watched that 3 hour stream, you would notice that there's no rage. There's definitely some moaning, but I don't. I definitely don't become a. I've never rage quit a game in my whole life. I don't think. I always just play until I lose. But this here, where there's just computer opponents, I'm not taking away from anyone else's experience, and I'm streaming it. Yeah, I definitely will rage quit because like I'd rather just start over again with 25,000 than fight back from negative 20,000, right? Like if I'm trying to shoot for first, it's effectively a better idea to not continue down a ridiculously negative path.
Yeah,
Um,
but I've also had to learn that like you have to be able to you have to be able to build that mentality of trying to come back, because before I wouldn't necessarily have that. Before it would just be like, okay, well, I guess this isn't my game, so I'll just resign myself to whatever I get. Whereas now, having played in online tournaments because of the pandemic, you know, what there was there was one online Russian tournament that I participated in where until the last round where I fell asleep because the hours of the tournament were like our sleeping hours, I was sitting in ninth place. But I got there because several of my games, I basically had to fight tooth and nail over and over and over again to try to come back and win. And that's something you just build. Like you can't. And I don't know. I don't know if just like saying, and I mean, I know you're doing it for your stream,
yeah,
but you know, it does mean something to have that mentality of, yeah, you know what, I just like that one game on, like, if you look at my stream that I have, the only one that's on there. I mean, you'll see the point where I'm at 60,000 at 60,000 first place, and I'm sitting at 22,000, and I'm like, I mean, I still got a dealership. There's something I can still do something about this. Now, you had to draw the tiles and get fortunate, and I did, and that's not going to happen all the time. But it took a long time for me to get the mentality of like just not being like an Eeyore and say, "Woe is me! Here's another loss."
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like I definitely have suffered in games before from wanting to win too much, and that like I think if I ever were to like make gaming like a source of income for me competitively, I would definitely have to work with like a sports psychologist on like letting go of the desperate desire to win because I think it usually negatively impacts me. Like I've definitely lost like competitive games like to people that I'm typically can beat in casual because in when the pressure was on and I wanted to win just like so much, I actually like tensed up too much. I was a little slower to react. I made more mistakes, right? One thing Mahjong doesn't have in it that like sort of fighting games or sports have in them is like actual dexterity being affected by stress, and it's definitely something I've been susceptible to. Mahjong less so, you know, it's not like I'm gonna like flip a tile like accidentally wrong or something, but it definitely
No,
happens in something like a fighting game where manual dexterity is really, really, you know, important to the experience.
well, I mean, wait. So just quickly, because we talked about this, you didn't see the last episode of Haikyuu, but you did see the end of the game, right?
Yeah,
So you saw where they got the last point and they won, right?
yeah, I'm
Okay.
fairly certain I am.
Because do you remember what the coach was saying right before the last more important bit happened?
I mean, no, my memory is not that sharp. I don't
So he
remember.
was talking about the fact that like after the service, they like kept on rushing to the net and attacking over and over and over again. And then the coach Ukaya was basically saying that's not good and telling everybody to slow down. And that they would say the pressure of trying to get that point and quickly getting it is strangling themselves more than actually helping them. And they don't know it.
Yeah,
So
you know, actually,
that's basically
I felt that super strong. I definitely am that guy for sure. I want it too much. Like, I
because
would, you know, like Tokido used to suffer from that for a long time. In the world again of Street Fighter competitive play, there's a guy named Tokido that got known as 2Keto because he finished second at like 10 tournaments. And people were like, man, this guy's so good. Why does he keep finishing second? Like, why does it just not happen for him? So he actually wound up like getting a sports psychologist, and like now you see him like when he's playing, he does these like breathing exercises, like in between rounds, he does like a very big like chest breathing and pushing his hands out and like you know, trying to recenter, recalm himself. Like it's clearly exercises he picked up um, from his like sports psychologist guy, and it now he's not 2Keto anymore. Now he's known as debatably the best player on earth. So there is definitely a mental game to be won in this kind of stuff. Facing the computer, I can't rely on manipulating the mentals of my opponents to get ahead, and that's one of the reasons it's hard for me. I usually excel at games like poker and stuff where I can, you know, look at people's tendencies and get a feel for them and put them on
and that's
things and lead them down paths and deceive them. Can't do
and
that in the computer.
the thing is that like if you're able to learn all the Yaku and get more comfortable at a table, I could imagine you doing the things that I was doing in my stream yesterday. Because I was misleading people all the time. I hit somebody for 12,000 points because they thought I was going for Tanya, and I hit them with a one pin for Dora. And I mean, like Mahjong calls Soul has emotes because it's anime waifu type stuff. Although this person had the dog.
I
And
respect.
the
I
dog,
didn't know there was a dog, but now I
yeah.
desperately want it.
And so basically, after I won the 12,000 points off of him, the next email he put out was like the shocked face, and I went, yeah. I called 3 times looking like I'm going for Tanya. You discarded the one pin Dora thinking, oh, he's going for Tanya. It's nothing. And I go, guess what? Of the 4 tiles I was hiding, 3 of them were Yakuhai, and 1 of them was the one pin Dora. I just nailed you for 12,000.
So Viltrus is saying he used to be a competitive fencer, or maybe he still is. I'm not sure. But he used to be, yeah. The pressure to win and the fear of losing would get to me, and I would lose matches. I think he wanted to say that I should win, and it took him a while also to like work through that and turn it around. Like this kind of stuff is, you know, there's a reason why there's like professional psychologists that do this for NBA teams
Oh,
and
yeah.
whatnot. Um, you know, sometimes the ability and the skill is not enough, right? You can
Yeah, if
still,
you don't have the headspace for it, you could be the greatest player of all time, but if you can't keep your head together, it doesn't matter.
yo, yeah, I think there's plenty of examples of that. All right, well, this was a good time. It's 1 a.m. on a Sunday. probably should call an end to it.
on a
Um,
Monday.
but yeah, like 12-6er, maybe we do this again, or maybe we do a team battle where you come in and try to help me win, like we do it live, right?
Sure.
Maybe that's some fun if it doesn't run into one of your tournaments. We can think about it. Um, I am still trying to figure out what the next game I should play on stream is, because I'm mostly done with Like a Dragon. I'm basically at end game levels. Um, I would, I've beaten Hatoful Boyfriend and had the most insane experience with Viltress that neither of us will ever be able to forget. Uh, and now I'm at a crossroads. I don't really know what to play. I don't know if I should dive back into FGC content because that's the world I know well, or yeah, I just don't know. Maybe I'm not skilled enough at FGC stuff at this point
I
in
mean, you could
history.
be like Vaughn trying to play waifu mahjong.
You know, Mahjong Soul, if they had a $10 fee you could pay, that would strip the interface of all waifu stuff, like lifetime. Just no waifu stuff, just hide it all. I would pay the $10. I would do that.
Well, if you want a clean experience, then you just go to Tenho, and their new client has English translations on it.
Oh, really? Does Tenho finally not like a miserable experience? Because it was for
Yeah,
ages.
yeah. If you want to share your screen quickly, we can take a look at it quickly if you want to.
All right, we'll do that offline. I should probably wrap up the stream. Um, yeah, Viltress is saying that it's rare for a stream to get his undivided attention, but Hatoful Boyfriend had him transfixed for like 3 hours. We were in. We were all the way in. We fell down the tunnel. And also, he'd like to thank you for all the mahjong tips.
Yeah,
So
I mean that's like I said, that's what I'm here for. Like, in
I
as
mean
much as I get,
you could use a follow. You could follow 12-6er, right? You're on Twitch, right?
yep.
Yeah, you can follow 12-6er for more insane mahjong action, but don't watch his stream
I
over mine. Uh,
don't what?
don't watch his stream instead of mine.
You just watch it along with his. And
If,
I only have
if
one
we're
video,
both live, you're forced to dual window. Okay, use two browsers. Right, get us both running. I appreciate that.
the one video I do have on there is from the Nina Cup from yesterday, so you'll hear me like complaining, like, "Oh, why did I draw this tile now?" Like literally, I'm just kind of speaking what I'm thinking as I'm going along. I may not necessarily explain everything, but I'll try. Usually, I'll say like, "Nope, nope, I can't do it. Nope, I can't do this. No, gotta give up now."
All right. Well, this
Um,
was the first time I've ever tried this audio video setup and putting the text on screen, and I'm slowly evolving my stream skills. Just learning the space a little bit. I put audio into the last stream. Like I'm getting there. We're getting there. We're getting to something.
you're certainly further along than I am.
I might build to 5 viewers someday if I try real hard. No, I mean my record is the Final Fantasy finale stream or something was like 19 viewers.
Okay.
So that was pretty good. But I don't want to just be retro RPG guy, right? Because there's a million of those, I think, and a lot of them aren't going to get the numbers that Final Fantasy gets, right?
I mean, if you just do, if I mean, if because you had that list, right? You could just do like a simple walk through your list of games or your list of your list of queued games.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a backlog list there. Some of the ones that are high up in the backlog is stuff like, For Honor and Fallout 4 and Life is Strange Before the Storm, Mirror's Edge Catalyst, Quantum Break, South Park, Sunset Overdrive, Banner Saga 2, Horizon Zero Dawn, Judgment, which is also by the Yakuza guys, Odin Sphere, Lift Reisier. It's a very odd word. Um, let's see, Dust and Elysian Tale, Fallout New Vegas, or Fez, Kerbal, MK11, Project X Zone 2. If I can figure that one out. I think that'd be interesting to play. Shadowrun Dragonfall, Shadowrun Returns. Those are RPGs. I think those might be fun to play actually. And Dragon Quest XI. Like that's some of the stuff that's on my backlog. Viltris wants a Fallout New Vegas playthrough. You know, I'd always heard great things about it, and I never did play it. And it turns out that I own it. I like looked through Steam one day and I was like, "Hey, look at that."
I actually have this. What do you know?
Yeah, Outer Worlds is on my like want to buy someday list. Um, I'm trying to like actually give all the games I spent money on some time, right? So there's definitely a potential future. I realized that I put like Kuroi Kaze featuring 12Sixer, but here on Twitch, I unfortunately had some dude steal Kuroi Kaze and do nothing with it. So let me guess I fix the words for the future. Here we go. I don't know if that live updates in the stream or not.
Probably does.
Oh. Now I've messed everything up. I've goofed it all up. All right, let's get rid of the browser window. We were watching the video, and yep, there we go. All right, well, thanks so much for stopping by, Viltris. Let's talk about it offline. We'll figure out something, maybe. Fallout might be a fun stream though, just doing like kind of a meme run or something. So that's something to think about because I don't have any particular emotions about Fallout, like I did with Final Fantasy. So